Part 46. Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 466. Chapter 451-450. Zhang Beizi's acting skills. In the warm and romantic restaurant, the huge floor-to-ceiling windows reflect the neon lights of Hong Kong at night. The candles on the dining table were swaying with romantic candlelight. Chen Lian picked up the wine glass and said to Zhou Huimin, "You are so beautiful tonight." Zhou Huimin raised the cup and touched it lightly with Chen Lian and said, "Thank you for the surprise tonight." Chen Lian smiled and drank the wine in the cup, but he was thinking that there would be a bigger surprise later. Zhou Huimin saw Chen Lian drinking so fast and advised him, "Drink slower, why are you in such a hurry?" Chen Lian smiled and said, "I'm in a good mood and want to drink a few more drinks." Zhou Huimin thought that Chen Lian was in a good mood because he was with him, so he stopped trying to persuade him. The two chatted while eating dinner. Chen Lian drank quickly, and the bottle of wine was finished in a short time. Chen Lian looked at the empty decanter, stood up and said, "I'll open another bottle." "Don't drink so much." Zhou Huimin felt that Chen Lian had drunk too much, and his face was a little red. Chen Lian smiled and did not agree. If he didn't drink more, he would explain himself later when Zhang Beizi came. Chen Lian opened another bottle and continued to drink heavily. After a few glasses, half the bottle was gone. Chen Lian really felt a little dizzy at this moment, but he could only be considered tipsy. He would have to drink at least one more bottle before he was drunk. But Zhou Huimin didn't know it. Looking at Chen Lian like this, he thought he had drunk too much. "Stop drinking, have some soup." Zhou Huimin handed the soup he made at home to Chen Lian. Chen Lian hummed in a daze, and as soon as he picked it up and took a sip, he heard the doorbell ring. "The soup tastes really good." After Chen Lian praised him, he stood up unsteadily and went to open the door. "It should be my assistant. I'll go." "I'll open the door." Chen Lian staggered a little. Zhou Huimin walked over worriedly and helped him sit on the sofa and said, "Sit still and I'll open the door." Since he was Chen Lian's assistant, Zhou Huimin had no worries and ran directly to open the door. As soon as Zhou Huimin opened the door, a fragrant and soft person with a faint smell of alcohol rushed into his arms. Zhou Huimin was stunned. He took a look at the girl in his arms and found that it was Zhang Beizi, who had recently been hailed as the successor to his beautiful girl. "Why are you here?" Zhou Huimin asked in confusion. Zhang Beizi's face was flushed, and he looked at Zhou Huimin with hazy eyes and muttered, "Who are you? Where is Teacher Chen? Where is Teacher Chen?" As soon as Zhang Beizi spoke, the smell of alcohol became even stronger. Zhou Huimin frowned and looked at her, but he didn't dare to let go for fear that she would fall to the ground. "Lian, come and see why Zhang Beizi is here." Zhou Huimin turned around and shouted, but there was no response. Zhou Huimin was a little at a loss. Looking at Zhang Beizi, who was drunk and unconscious, she had to help her go inside, preparing to find someone to send Zhang Beizi back. But when she threw Zhang Beizi on the sofa before she could take a breath, she saw Zhang Beizi drunkenly turning over and crying, and even took off his clothes neatly. Zhou Huimin quickly tried to stop him, but Zhang Beizi moved too fast. He had already taken off his clothes and fell asleep on the sofa. Zhou Huimin's hands were frozen in the air. Looking at the two drunk people on the sofa, she felt that something was not right tonight. The drunk Zhang Beizi turned over and hugged Chen Lian, who was also sleeping on the sofa, muttering something, but holding his hands tightly and still groping around. Zhou Huimin looked at her and felt like she was being raped. "You touched my man in front of me. Don't think I won't hit you when you're drunk." Zhou Huimin went up and was about to pull away, but someone tripped him and fell into Chen Lian's arms. "It hurts me so much, Lian, wake up quickly!" Zhou Huimin shouted in pain. Chen Lian held Zhou Huimin vaguely but very accurately and muttered, "Huimin, what's wrong with you? Stop making trouble and go to sleep." "I'm so sleepy." "Zhou Huimin, Who made trouble with you? Do you want to see how many people you hugged at once? Chen Lian, Zhou Huimin hit Chen Lian, but Chen Lian still didn't wake up, and instead hugged him tighter. Zhou Huimin struggled and couldn't get away, so he hit Chen Lian again angrily. I told you not to drink so much. You are happy with these, Zhou Huimin complained, thinking that when Chen Lian fell asleep and let go of him, he would get up and get rid of Zhang Beizi, the uninvited guest. It's just that Chen Lian didn't know if he was dreaming. He didn't let go when he fell asleep, but hugged her tighter. Zhou Huimin blushed and pressed Chen Lian's dishonest hand. He turned around and glanced at Zhang Beizi, who was lying next to him and hugging Chen Lian's legs, sleeping soundly, and he felt relieved. Fortunately I wasn't seen, otherwise it would have been embarrassing. But this situation is not a problem now. Zhou Huimin struggled to stand up, but couldn't get away. In the end, he had no choice but to give up and lay in Chen Lian's arms waiting for him to let go. It was impossible to let go, and Chen Lian wasn't really drunk. From an angle that Zhou Hui couldn't see, Zhang Beizi secretly opened his eyes, sniffed his nose like a little fox, then hugged Chen Lian and moved up restlessly. After receiving the signal, Chen Lian began to act dishonestly. Zhou Huimin blushed and complained softly in Chen Lian's ear. She felt very ashamed in her heart. There were other people in the room. It's a pity that the two drunk ones among the three were really sober, and only Zhou Huimin, who was not drunk, was kept in the dark. In such an atmosphere, Zhou Huimin's somewhat uncontrollable breathing came from the room after a while. The candlelight on the dining table was swaying slightly in the breeze, emitting a faint light, and the fragrance of roses filled the whole room. The three roses in the vase are close together, and the bright red buds are slowly wetted by the moist sea breeze and covered with flower dew. Zhou Huimin resisted and found it very exciting. For a moment, she didn't know what to do. The most important thing was that she felt that Zhang Beizi's hands seemed to be on her body. Are all drunk people so dishonest? Lian, stop moving, it's no longer possible. Hurry up and let go. Don't go down. Zhang Beizi, wake up. Don't. In the dim room, Chen Lian and Zhang Beizi glanced at each other secretly, and then continued busy with their work. Zhou Huimin, who had no idea, closed his eyes and fell into the conflict between reason and desire. The night was so long that Zhou Huimin felt like he was dreaming. It wasn't until I woke up the next morning that I was sure that I was not the drunk one last night, and that everything that happened last night was not a dream. However, this is too ridiculous. Zhou Huimin looked at Chen Lian, who was still sleeping, and his teeth itched with hatred, but he didn't dare to wake him up. He really didn't know how to face it now. Fortunately, Zhang Beizi didn't know where he went. Even if he wanted to get up early, he would run away in shame and anger. Zhou Huimin got up carefully and prepared to take a bath. When she opened the bathroom door, she thought that Zhang Beizi was taking a bath. Zhang Beizi looked at Zhou Huimin, who opened the door, and was stunned for a moment. Then he suddenly realized what he was doing and his eyes turned red. You, get out. You guys went too far last night. Huh, Zhou Huimin was stunned. Who went too far? Didn't you take the initiative last night? How can you do this? I'm not even 20 years old. Zhang Beizi's tears fell from the corners of his eyes. He sat in the bathtub holding his knees and looked at Zhou Huimin with shame and anger, tears streaming down his face. Zhou Huimin originally wanted to accuse Zhang Beizi, but when he saw her like this, he couldn't speak out and felt a little guilty and protective in his heart. She is such a lovable girl. No wonder she became the new generation of Jade Girl leader. I wonder if there is an inheritance relationship. Zhou Huimin felt soft and took the initiative to walk in and close the door to comfort Zhang Beizi. I'm sorry, last night was an accident. Zhou Huimin took the initiative to hug Zhang Beizi and said. Zhang Beizi struggled for a while, as if he stubbornly didn't want to get close to Zhou Huimin, but soon he couldn't hold it any longer, hugged Jo Hwimin and started crying. Chen Lian, who was outside the bathroom, couldn't help but shook his head and went back to sleep when he heard what was going on inside. Zhang Beizi's acting skills are really good, he is a very talented actor. After an unknown amount of time, Zhang Beizi and Jo Hwimin were sitting at the dining table eating breakfast. Their relationship was no longer as tense as before. Jo Hwimin handed a glass of milk to Zhang Beizi and said, "Eat slowly, don't be in a hurry." Zhang Beizi bit his sandwich, looked up at Jo Hwimin and said, "You are so kind. I wish I had a sister like you." Jo Hwimin raised her lips and chuckled, "I will be your sister from now on." Zhang Beizi's eyes turned red again. He looked at Jo Hwimin and shouted tentatively, "Sister, sister." Jo Hwimin didn't say anything, and reached out to hold Zhang Beizi's hand, her eyes as gentle as a sister's. Chen Lian would be in the bedroom wondering if going out now would ruin the loving scene between the sisters. Forget it, let Zhang Beizi conquer Jo Hwimin first, then go back and have a good sleep. By the time Chen Lian went to sleep again, there was no one at home. I pulled out my phone and saw a text message from Zhang Beizi, with only an OK message on it. Chen Lian put away his phone with a smile and went out to get something to eat. When he came to the refrigerator, he saw a note left for him by Jo Hwimin. "I made breakfast for you. It's in the refrigerator. Get up and heat it up yourself. I love you." Chen Lian smiled when he looked at the note, and even made breakfast without getting angry. It seemed that Zhang Beizi's strategy was very successful. After taking breakfast out of the refrigerator and heating it up, Chen Lian went out and continued working. Finish the auction and judging matters as soon as possible, there are still a lot of things to do later. Chen Lian had a busy day. At the end of the day, when he was thinking about where to go in the evening, he received a call from Jo Hwimin, asking him to go home for dinner. After hanging up the phone, a text message from Zhang Beizi also came, telling him that he was there. Chen Lian immediately became full of motivation and quickly asked the driver to drive home quickly for dinner. "Going to have a big meal tonight?" In the next 3 days, Chen Lian went out to work during the day and went home to have a big meal at night. His life was not too happy, and he wanted to stay in Xiangjiang for a while. "It's just that there is still a job waiting for me in Tokyo, so I can't keep it even if I want to." That night, Chen Lian went completely crazy and got on a plane to leave Hong Kong. Only the two heads were left to rest at home for a long time before helping each other get out of bed and take a shower. Ginza in Tokyo is very lively at this time. Tourists coming and going can't help but turn their heads and take a few glances when passing a store. In the store, Wang Zuxian and Ji Fa are doing the final inspection work. It will be officially open tomorrow, and they both feel a little uneasy. "Is there no problem with the model performance team?" Wang Zuxian pulled Ji Fa and asked with some worry. Ji Fa hugged Wang Zuxian affectionately and said, "No problem, they have all walked in shows in Paris and are very experienced." Wang Zuxian nodded, feeling a little relieved. She was just nervous. In fact, she knew that the level of those models had come from the global competition, and they had been trained by Chen Lian to go to Paris Fashion Week. There would definitely be no problem in this small scene. When she was in Paris, Wang Zuxian went to watch it live. After Ji Fa was busy for a while, he glanced at the time and said to himself, "Lian's plane should be arriving soon." After hearing this, Wang Zuxian turned to look at her and said, "Do you want to pick him up?" "No, I'm so busy, I don't have time." Ji Fa waved his hand and said. Wang Zuxian grunted and said, "Okay, I guess he has someone to pick him up, so I'm too lazy to care about him." Ji Fa smiled and said, "That's right, let's go to the hot springs to relax in the evening." Wang Zuxian's face turned slightly red and she nodded and said, "Then you must not be like last time." "How was it last time?" Ji Fa poked Wang Zuxian's waist and said with a smile. Wang Zuxian shyly hit Ji Fa and said, "Don't smile like a bad man." "Humph, You just like Chen Lian's smile, right? Ji-Fa rolled his eyes at her. Wang Zuxian raised his voice and turned around to get busy. At this time, Chen Lian had just come out of the Tokyo airport. He turned to look at Li Dabai and Lu Tao and asked, "Do you want to go shopping?" "What are you doing? You want to drive us away?" Li Dabai grabbed Chen Lian's arm and said, "We are not going anywhere, we will just follow you." Lu Tao, who was sitting on the other side of Chen Lian, also hugged Chen Lian's arm and said, "Yes, don't even think about leaving us Shuangbei sisters behind." Chen Lian said helplessly, "Okay, you said it yourself, don't regret it." After coming out of the airport, Chen Lian got into Fujiwara Norika's car and went straight to Chen Lian's courtyard in Tokyo. Today, all the sisters in Tokyo are on the move, vowing to compete with the girls from other places. It's not that they want to compete, but Ito Murangi has requested before, hoping that they can say more good things in front of Chen Lian and let Chen Lian come to participate in next year's art exhibition. Ito Murangi also promised many benefits. The girls in Tokyo actually don't care about these benefits, but they also hope that Chen Lian can come to Tokyo more so that they can have a chance. After the car arrived at the courtyard, Fujiwara Norika took Chen Lian's arm and got out of the car. Li Dabai and Lu Tao looked behind and were not convinced. Thinking that she must understand later that the double white combination is invincible. But when they walked into the courtyard and saw a row of girls wearing kimonos standing in the courtyard, they were stunned. This is a foul. Forget about the costume blessing, why are there still 5 people? Isn't that a bit much? You don't have martial ethics. Don't make me shake people. The double white combination, which originally thought they had a numerical advantage, now felt as if they were surrounded. Chen Lian, who was really surrounded, didn't say anything. What's wrong with being surrounded? It's not too late to be happy. The previous chapter was blocked and has not been released, so I have been delaying posting the next 2 chapters. I'm sorry. Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 467. Chapter 452-451. The Little Princess's Dream. In the quiet and deep courtyard, the flowers on the branches fell one after another under the autumn wind. In the steaming hot spring, flower petals float on the water. The water from the hot spring ripples against the blue stone, like a stormy sea. The orioles and swallows in the soup pool have their own unique styles. Under the bright moonlight, they look like 7 fairies descending to earth to take a bath, and Chen Lian is the cowherd who peeks at the 7 fairies taking a bath. But this is not accurate. He is more like the innocent man who accidentally broke into Pansy Cave in Journey to the West. The 7 fairies in the Pansy Cave each have their own abilities. If you want to escape from the Pansy Cave, you have to pass each level one by one. Fortunately, Chen Lian is very capable, so he is not afraid of these 7 goblins. He just needs to be beaten to surrender. It's just that the banshees in Tokyo and the banshees in China have different spells and moves. There is a banshee named Fujiwara Norika who is good at coiling silk, there is a banshee called Tomita Senpai who is good at leg skills, and there are Noriko Sakai and Hosu Suzuki. Nami's banshee can absorb stars, and the 2 white sisters who are good at using powerful ball magic weapons are really difficult to deal with. The only one who is not very skilled, Kyoko Fukata, can also use the magic sound method, which makes people dazzled and overwhelmed. Fortunately, these banshees are not united, and they all want to capture this person who accidentally entered the cave. It is inevitable that you will fight for it, which will give you a chance to make a comeback. The 7 demon-like fairies were really difficult to deal with, so Chen Lian managed to win with 72 transformations. However, this battle also consumed him a lot. If he didn't nourish himself for 3 days, he might not be able to regain his strength. There is a saying that goes, a man's warehouse will be full in 3 days. As long as the body is not exhausted, 3 days is enough. These 3 days were just enough time to get down to business. Chen Lian went to Ginza without having time to rest the next day, and Kyoko Fukata was traveling with her. On the way to Ginza, Chen Lian couldn't help but yawn, feeling like he had nothing left but his insides had been emptied. Kyoko Fukata wasn't much better, but she was much better than Chen Lian, but she was just a little sleepy. Soon the car arrived in Ginza. Chen Lian and Fukata Kyoko got off the car together and went to the store that was about to open. Wang Zuxian trotted over when she saw Chen Lian. When she saw the dark circles under Chen Lian's eyes, she couldn't help but asked worriedly, "You didn't rest yesterday, okay? The dark circles under your eyes are so heavy." Chen Lian hummed and couldn't help but yawned. Wang Zuxian saw that Chen Lian was too sluggish, so she couldn't help pinching him and said, "You don't know any restraint." As he spoke, he glared at Kyoko Fukata, as if complaining that she was squeezing her too hard. The little girl was so young that she couldn't tell that she was quite powerful. Fukata Kyoko turned her head guiltily. She didn't have that ability. She was the worst last night. If Sakai Noriko hadn't helped her twice, she would have been defeated long ago. Wang Zuxian didn't know what happened last night, so she didn't know what to say. She pulled Chen Lian inside and said, "Go and take a nap first. It's still early to start." Chen Lian waved his hand and said, "I won't rest, otherwise I'm afraid I won't be able to get up." "Are you so exaggerated?" Wang Zuxian said doubtfully. "Are you feeling weak? Do you want to see a doctor?" Chen Lian, who can't do it? Wang Xianxian, just wait for me. Jifa also came over at this time. Seeing Chen Lian's depressed look, he couldn't help but click his tongue a few times, and looked at Fukata Kyoko with admiration. This little beauty has some skills. No wonder Chen Lian chose her to be the spokesperson for Japan. After the opening is over, look for opportunities to communicate and learn. Chen Lian resisted his sleepiness and asked about today's specific process, and then went to the staff lounge at the back to chat with the model girls. "This was the first time I saw them since we parted ways in Paris last year." Chen Lian still missed competing in Paris Fashion Week with these girls. Chen Lian sat on a chair and watched the girls put on makeup and change clothes, chatting and joking with them, which restored his energy a lot. During this period, many girls came to Chen Lian for help. Some buttons could not be buttoned, clothes could not be zipped up, the collar was too tight, etc. Chen Lian is a fashion designer. If you don't ask him for help, who can you ask for help? The entire lounge was filled with the scent of cosmetics and the silvery laughter of the girls. While helping the girls sort out their clothes, Chen Lian said to them, "I'm going to start a fashion magazine in China. I'll look for you on the cover of the first issue." "Teacher Chen, are you making a magazine?" a girl said happily. "There are too few fashion magazines in China. Only Harper's Bazaar is a little famous. It has just been published. It is far behind France." After Chen Lian buckled a girl's belt, he patted her waist and then turned around and said, "Domestic fashion started relatively late, but it will get better in the future. By then, you won't all have to go abroad to develop." He, then we can only count on Teacher Chen to eat? It sounds like you don't expect Teacher Chen to eat now. Please hurry up and ask Teacher Chen to give you more work. Haha, that's right, if you take the initiative at night, you might not have to work. The girls were also very good at joking. Chen Lian responded to them with a smile and said that after the event was over, he would come one by one to register and receive the room card. Jifa, who had just arrived at the door of the lounge, looked at Chen Lian's calm look among the flowers and could only express his admiration. This guy was born to be a scumbag. "Okay girls, stop chatting and get ready, it's about to start." Jifa clapped his hands, attracting all the attention, and after carefully explaining the process of the meeting, he pulled Chen Lian out. "Stop flirting here. All the clients we invited are here. You go and accompany them. Jifa assigned Chen Lian a task. Chen Lian frowned and said, I'm going to accompany a group of wealthy ladies. Is it appropriate? Are their husbands at ease? Jifa, they are all waiting for you. They will probably be disappointed if you don't go. By the way, the little princess from the Li family is here too, go and deal with it. Why is she still here? Did you invite her? Chen Lian asked doubtfully. Ji shook his head and said, the South Korean side did invite some people, but they didn't invite her. They probably came here for you, my brother-in-law. To make matters worse, we are so busy today and have to deal with her. Can I not go? Chen Lian struggled. No. Forced by Jifa's eyes, Chen Lian had no choice but to go. The store was arranged like a stage, with models on the catwalk to showcase the products. On both sides of the stage were auditoriums arranged according to the customer's level. 99% of these customers are provided by LV, and the customer levels are also divided according to where they are. After watching the show, if the customer likes something, they can directly ask the waiter to register. Chen Lian and Wang Zuxian walked among these customers, chatting with them about fashion, art, flower arrangement, etc. In short, they would talk about everything. Wives from wealthy families don't go to work, so they study these things every day. Li Yingxin also followed Chen Lian, looking at him with admiration, feeling that he was so powerful and knew everything. Women know all about tea art and flower arrangement, and they can make these ladies smile from ear to ear with just a few words. Chen Lian turned to look at his Korean sister-in-law, who was full of admiration, and couldn't help but ask, didn't you study art in France? Why did you come to Tokyo? It's holiday. I heard you were in Japan and I came to see you. I'll be bored when I go back if my sister isn't at home, Li Yingxin explained, sticking out her tongue. Listening to her words, Chen Lian felt like she was reciting the text. He didn't know how long she had been practicing this lie. However, Chen Lian will not expose her and will be a good and considerate brother-in-law. Soon, it was time for the official catwalk, and Chen Lian and Wang Zuxian took their seats. When the music started playing, the model girls made a stunning appearance. With a cold and mysterious temperament, they wore ethnic costumes with Chinese characteristics and showed off the beauty of their clothes on the Z-shaped T stage. The customers in the audience exclaimed in surprise from time to time, and everyone's eyes were attracted by those beautiful clothes. Many of the styles shown today were previously shown at Paris Fashion Week. Many people have seen the pictures. After seeing the actual items today, they felt that the photos did not capture half of the beauty. Listening to these praises and exclamations, Chen Lian knew that it was done. Wang Zuxian, who had been nervous, let go of Chen Lian's hand, and a proud smile began to appear on his face. Kyoko Fukada made her last appearance on the catwalk. As the spokesperson, she was naturally placed at the finale. When she was wearing a beautiful hanfu, many ladies in the audience raised their signs and called the waiter to register. Must buy it? So beautiful, like a fairy. There is a huge difference between hanfu and kimono. Kimono is more like a clothing that represents rules and restraint, but hanfu is more elegant and flexible, with a feeling of lightness and freedom, which immediately hit the ladies of Tokyo. This time it was really successful, and today's opening ended successfully. When we took the model girls to have dinner together to celebrate at noon, everyone had happy smiles on their faces, except Chen Lian, who looked sleepy and kept yawning. Seeing Chen Lian like this, Wang Zuxian said with some distress, I'll send you back to rest. Just leave this place to Jifa. Chen Lian nodded and said, okay, I really can't bear it anymore. Chen Lian wanted to leave, and the others didn't have any objections. After all, the dark circles under his eyes were too obvious. The listlessness on his face looked like he had overindulged himself, and he might die if he didn't rest. The model girl is really curious about who made Chen Lian look like this. How charming he is, Sudaji. When Li Yingxin saw Chen Lian was about to leave, she followed him. She took one of Chen Lian's hands and said, "I'll be with you. My sister asked me to follow you." Chen Lian, sister-in-law, stop memorizing the text. Do you know that you can't lie? Wang Zuxian glanced at Li Yingxin, opened her mouth and swallowed her words. Just follow. Anyway, Chen Lian couldn't do anything with him anyway. The three of them soon returned to the property Wang Zuxian purchased in Tokyo. It was a small courtyard with beautifully maintained flowers and plants. Chen Lian had no intention of admiring these landscape flowers and went straight to the bedroom to sleep. Wang Zuxian looked at Li Yingxin, who was a little nervous, and said, "He has gone to rest. Let me show you around." Okay, Li Yingxin didn't know what to do, so she nodded in agreement. Wang Zuxian had no hostility towards Li Yingxin. She regarded her as her client and even chatted with her about her studies. Wang Zuxian also studied art in Xiangjiang for 3 years. She was much better than Li Yingxin, who had just studied art. There was no shortage of topics for a while. But after chatting for a while, Ji Fa's call came, asking Wang Zuxian to go back and help. Today's event was a success. Many customers came in the afternoon, and it was a bit overwhelming. Wang Zuxian looked at Li Yingxin sitting there blankly drinking tea, and left in a hurry without wanting her to have a good rest here. After Wang Zuxian left, Li Yingxin immediately jumped up, trotted outside Chen Lian's bedroom, gently opened the wooden door, and looked inside along the gap with his little head. Chen Lian was so fast asleep in the room that he didn't even notice. Seeing that Chen Lian had no reaction, Li Yingxin stepped in quietly and walked in. There was a tatami in the room. Chen Lian was sleeping soundly on his side. Li Yingxin was sitting next to him and looking at his side face. Li Yingxin held her chin with both hands and looked serious, as if she was admiring the world-famous paintings shared by the teacher in the art appreciation class. After sitting and watching for a while, Li Yingxin became bolder and dared to reach out and play with Chen Lian's hair. Chen Lian was so sleepy that he didn't react at all. Li Yingxin found it quite funny, so she lay next to him and looked at his face very closely, listening to his breathing. Li Yingxin adjusted her posture, lying next to Chen Lian, carefully holding Chen Lian's arm, then leaning her face on the pillow, and then took Chen Lian's other hand and put it on her body, as if Chen Lian was holding her to sleep. Same. Li Yingxin's movements were very careful, for fear of waking up Chen Lian. After completing these movements, she carefully breathed a sigh of relief, with a happy smile on her face. It would have been better if I had taken the initiative. Li Yingxin looked at Chen Lian's beautiful features and couldn't help but said to herself. Li Yingxin has always felt regret in her heart, but she didn't dare to show it. If Chen Lian hadn't slept so hard today, she wouldn't have dared to do this. At this moment, she just hoped that time would pass slower and this dream would last longer. Li Yingxin carefully raised her arms and hugged Chen Lian, like a young couple sleeping in each other's arms. But she didn't notice that Chen Lian's breathing became regular and even. Chen Lian really didn't dare to move now. He didn't want to embarrass Li Yingxin, and he didn't know how to face a girl's cautious crush. I can only say one thing in my heart, what a sin. Fortunately, I had too much fun yesterday, so I don't have any desire in my heart today, otherwise it would be really embarrassing. Time passed little by little, and maybe because Chen Lian's arms were too comfortable, Li Yingxin actually fell asleep. The embarrassing thing is that Chen Lian was too sleepy and fell asleep after being awake for a while. A dream that should have been a waking dream has now really become a dream. Li Yingxin hugged Chen Lian like an octopus, and Chen Lian also hugged her and slept soundly. He also put his hands in places where they shouldn't be and squeezed them many times unconsciously. Maybe Chen Lian's movements were too big, or maybe he was too sensitive, and Li Yingxin was pinched awake. Li Yingxin woke up with a red face and didn't know what to do. As her consciousness became clearer, Chen Lian's every movement made her feel more clear and sensitive, and she couldn't even maintain a steady breathing. I can't bear it anymore, what should I do? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizuda Xiaomao. Chapter 468. Chapter 453-452. If you don't take the initiative, it won't be considered a betrayal. A sense of isolation and loneliness lingered in the whole room, but Li Yingxin liked this loneliness and the feeling of being abandoned by the whole world. Because she was in Chen Lian's arms, and she was holding Chen Lian herself, as if they were the only ones in the world. There is no need to think about the world, no need to think about anything, just hug each other. Li Yingxin particularly hoped that this moment would last longer, but she also knew that she should get up. If he doesn't get up again, all the fantasy and beauty will be shattered when Chen Lian wakes up. Well, there is another very important reason, that is, Chen Lian is really dishonest. Li Yingxin's eyes seemed to be covered with mist, and she bit her pink lips, not daring to make a sound. I really don't know how my sister fell asleep when she was with him. It's so uncomfortable and I have no strength. This thought suddenly came to Li Yingxin's mind, and all her rationality and moral values were awakened. You have to get up, even if you are still greedy for this moment and Chen Lian's arms. Li Yingxin carefully raised Chen Lian's hand and slowly got out of his arms. Seeing that Chen Lian did not wake up, Li Yingxin breathed a sigh of relief. He raised his arms and tried to sit up, but his hands went weak and he fell down again. In the darkness, Chen Lian subconsciously caught Li Yingxin steadily, and then regretted it. Wasn't this exposed? Damn, it was so embarrassing. Li Yingxin exclaimed and realized that she was caught by Chen Lian. She breathed a sigh of relief subconsciously, and suddenly realized that Chen Lian had not fallen asleep just now. So he pretended to sleep on purpose? Ah! How embarrassing. Wrong. If he wasn't asleep, he just touched Li Yingxin looked at Chen Lian shyly with a shocked face. Although Chen Lian's face could not be seen clearly in the dark, she could clearly feel Chen Lian's body stiffening. Stiff. Something doesn't feel right. Chen Lian moved back awkwardly, looked at Li Yingxin and said, "What's that?" "It's a normal reaction. I was woken up by you when you got up just now." Li Yingxin blushed and breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out that she woke him up when she just got up. That's good. Li Yingxin glanced at Chen Lian, and when she saw a very obvious place, she immediately covered her eyes and did not dare to look. Chen Lian pulled the blanket awkwardly, but found that the gap between Li Yingxin's fingers covering her eyes seemed a bit big. Peep. Still too nervous? The current situation is indeed a bit embarrassing, and Chen Lian thinks it's better to go out and calm down first. After Chen Lian ran out, Li Yingxin put down her hands covering her eyes. After letting out a long sigh of relief, she shyly buried her face in her knees and stamped her feet. It's so embarrassing. I'm too embarrassed to see people, but I really want to stay like this forever. Li Yingxin hugged her knees and said to herself. Ahem, let me get the phone, I didn't hear anything. Chen Lian's voice suddenly appeared in the room again. Li Yingxin looked up at Chen Lian blankly, screamed, turned around and pulled the blanket to cover herself, like an ostrich. Have you ever seen an ostrich? The one with its head buried in the sand and pouting. Chen Lian, it's so annoying. Didn't see it? Forget it, take another look and give her some face. Li Yingxin wants to die now. If the gap in the floor is bigger, she will definitely get in. Chen Lian looked at her back, sighed helplessly, walked over and patted her shoulder and said, "My cell phone is under the pillow, and you pressed it." Li Yingxin's body stiffened, and her little hands under the blanket trembled and touched, but they didn't touch the phone, but Chen Lian's legs. Chen Lian, I can't bear it if you do this again. Li Yingxin also realized that she had touched the wrong thing, and she suddenly took her hand back and cried out. I have never been so embarrassed in my life. I don't have the face to see anyone. Let me die. After I die, I won't have these worries. Chen Lian is a little numb now. Why are you still crying? It was you who secretly came over to eat tofu while I was sleeping. Why are you crying? Makes it seem like I'm bullying you. Fortunately, Wang Zuxian and Jifa haven't come back yet, otherwise they wouldn't have explained it. Chen Lian struggled for a while, then knelt down and patted Li Yingxin on the shoulder and said, Why are you crying? I didn't bully you. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone what happened today, and I won't tell anyone about it either, Fuchhen. Hearing Li Fuchen's name, Li Yingxin cried even louder. She almost did something to feel sorry for her sister. Chen Lian looked at Li Yingxin at a loss, scratched his hair and sighed, let her cry, took the phone and left. Chen Lian put his hand into the blanket and prepared to find the phone and go out. Li Yingxin, who was crying like an ostrich in the blanket, suddenly felt Chen Lian's hand reaching in and choked up. What he wants to do. Li Yingxin felt the back of Chen Lian's hand sweep across the tip, and she couldn't help but snorted. Chen Lian was immediately frightened and dared not move. Damn it, what is your name? What are you calling? Do you know that you are playing with fire? I just had a good night's sleep and I'm already fully recovered. It's okay if you don't want this phone. Chen Lian was about to take his hand back, but just as he moved it, Li Yingxin snorted again. Gan. Yin xin, don't make such strange noises, otherwise I'll take it out right away. Chen Lian said and quickly took his hand back. Li Yingxin hummed it again, but she was thinking about what Chen Lian just said. Was he trying to say that he couldn't help it? He likes me too, right? Is it because of my sister that I restrain myself? That must be it. When Chen Lian was about to go out, Li Yingxin suddenly summoned up all the courage, lifted up the blanket and shouted at Chen Lian's back, I like you. After shouting out what was in her heart, Li Yingxin seemed to have removed all the burdens and shackles. Looking at Chen Lian's frozen back, she continued to shout, I liked you first. It was my sister who snatched you away. If it weren't for her, we will definitely be together. In the darkness, Chen Lian sighed. It seemed that Li Yingxin had a lot of resentment towards Li Fuchen. She blamed herself for being too good. It was really annoying. But I have to resolve this matter now, otherwise it will be embarrassing to meet in the future. Li Yingxin likes to get into trouble. If he commits suicide because of himself, Li Fuchen will probably hate himself for the rest of his life. The old man Li Jiangzi probably wouldn't let him go either. The apple of a rich family's eye, how could he be so easy to provoke? He originally chose to provoke Li Fuchen because Li Fuchen was ambitious and was not taken seriously at home, otherwise Chen Lian would not have chosen Li Fuchen. It took a long time to get it right. If it had been anyone else, Chen Lian wouldn't have spent so much effort. Chen Lian turned around, looked at Li Yingxin, sighed and said, this is all your own idea. Today is all a misunderstanding. In the darkness, Chen Lian turned his face sideways and did not look at Li Yingxin, but Li Yingxin felt that Chen Lian did not dare to face him because he was afraid that he could not control his inner emotions. Otherwise, why would he sigh? Are you worried about her? Li Yingxin sat up and looked at Chen Lian and asked seriously. She didn't even call her sister anymore. It seemed that the psychological burden would be less. She is a very entangled person, but also a very determined person. As long as she makes a choice, she will not regret it. Even if everyone is against it, she will not give up her love. Chen Lian felt that Li Yingxin was a bit demonic, but thinking about her ending in her previous life, he could understand her thoughts, so he explained seriously, Yin xin, what I said is true. It is impossible for us. It has been impossible from the beginning. In the future it's even more impossible, even without Fujian. Even. After Li Yingxin repeated the sentence, she became more sure of Chen Lian's thoughts. She immediately stood up and walked to Chen Lian and said, "But you should be mine," but she took you away. She is not suitable at all. You and she don't understand your art. I'm going to the exhibition that day. Only then can I understand you. I'm the most suitable person for you. Chen Lian, can't you turn a corner? Then we can only be more direct. Chen Lian pushed Li Yingxin away and said, "But I am with Fujian now. There is no way I can be with you. Stop fantasizing. I won't hurt her." "Then we won't tell her." Li Yingxin grabbed Chen Lian's hand and shouted. "Stop talking. If you keep talking, things will develop out of control." Chen Lian couldn't help but glance at Li Yingxin, and then immediately looked away. What a sin! Seeing the way Chen Lian wanted to look at her but not looking at her, Li Yingxin felt even more sure. She hugged him tightly and said, "I knew you liked me. I won't tell my sister, and I won't tell anyone. I won't make it difficult for you. I love you more than my sister." Chen Lian really didn't know what to do. He felt like he had met a yandere. No, Li Yingxin was a hardcore love brain. "I feel like I can't get rid of it. What the hell should I do?" "You can't be like Li Shui and Li Bingbing, they will be hacked to death by Li Fujian." Chen Lian didn't want to die yet. He looked at Li Yingxin and sighed and said, "Let go of me first. This is wrong." "No," Li Yingxin hugged Chen Lian tightly and said, "You will run away if I let go." Chen Lian, I have never been speechless more times in my life than tonight. When Li Yingxin saw Chen Lian not speaking, an idea suddenly came to her mind: let's do what she did in the TV series. Let him have no chance to regret. Thinking of Chen Lian's reaction when she just hummed a few times, Li Yingxin clumsily imitated the tone just now and hummed a few times in Chen Lian's ear. There is a girl's shyness and bravery in her breath, which is even more moving than before, directly arousing the impulse deep in the heart. Chen Lian couldn't help but swallowed. Li Yingxin heard the sliding sound of his throat more clearly, and hummed more seriously. His body also moved involuntarily, but the movements were awkward. After starting to move, Li Yingxin became even more selfless. This feeling made her really immersed in it. Chen Lian wanted to keep him at arm's length, but he only managed the first word. Li Yingxin also felt Chen Lian's stiff body and respect for herself, and she felt a surge of pride and happiness in her heart. He really likes me. He didn't dare to move because he didn't want to hurt me, but because he was worried that he wouldn't be able to control himself. You don't have to take the initiative, so you don't betray her, Li Yingxin gasped in Chen Lian's ear, moving her hands clumsily. Chen Lian struggled for a while and decided to listen to Li Yingxin. If he didn't move, it wouldn't be considered a betrayal. Yes, that's it. Scumbag. After Chen Lian cursed himself in his mind, his teacher-oriented personality couldn't be controlled again. You're not doing that right. Don't use so much force with your fingers. Be gentle. Li Yingxin was stunned for a moment, her hand became less strong, she gently drew circles and looked up at Chen Lian and asked, "Is that so?" Looking at Li Yingxin's ignorant, pure, and longing face, Chen Lian suddenly felt that it was better to betray Li Fujian. It would be difficult not to take the initiative. Never mind. I can't bear it anymore. Just die. Chen Lian grabbed Li Yingxin's wrist and picked her up and said, "Even if there is any mistake, I should bear it. You are a little princess and you shouldn't bear this for me." Li Yingxin looked at Chen Lian with emotion, reached out and touched his face and said, "I knew you loved me. I'm so happy. This is the happiest day in my life." Chen Lian carried Li Yingxin to the tatami and began to teach her the special knowledge seriously. There's no need to block it. Now that we've decided, let's not be restrained. Let's be honest with each other. Li Yingxin looked at Chen Lian, nodded with blurred eyes, removed her hands, and watched Chen Lian eat like a child. It was so embarrassing. But so happy. Wang Zuxian, who was far away in Ginza, had been busy all afternoon and was exhausted, but it was not over yet. Today's opening was a success, and we will definitely celebrate it tonight. Wang Zuxian thought that Chen Lian was still sleeping at home, and she was a little worried about him, so she called him, but she rang many times and couldn't get through. Jifa looked at Wang Zuxian's frown and said with a smile, "Look at his sluggish look, he must be sleeping. Just go back and bring him supper at night." When Wang Zuxian thought about it, it was true that when Chen Lian went back in the afternoon, he fell asleep with his hands on the pillow. He really doesn't care about his body at all. "I have to talk about him later," Wang Zuxian couldn't help complaining. Jifa smiled and said, "Do you think he will listen? Leave him alone. You will learn to restrain yourself when you suffer losses in the future." Wang Zuxian sighed helplessly, and then she and Jifa went to have a dinner with the store staff. Chen Lian doesn't need a late-night snack now. He is having a late-night snack. Although he is a little small, he can still eat enough. But if you can't feed yourself, don't ignore Li Yingxin. You have to let her eat. Come on, eat slowly. Slow down, Fujian is not here, no one will snatch it from you. Li Yingxin's face turned as red as an apple after listening to Chen Lian's words, but she still ate her dinner seriously. In order to make your loved ones happy and to make yourself happy, you must have a good dinner. Eat more and don't let Chen Lian down. Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 469. Chapter 454-453. Be in high spirits. Tokyo was very lively late at night. In an izakaya, Wang Zuxian paid and left the izakaya with a warm farewell from all the diners. Even though she has been out of the entertainment industry for several years, her popularity in Japan has not diminished at all, and she is surrounded by fans every time she goes out. There are still fans who want to pay money today. After Wang Zuxian came out of the izakaya, she looked at Jifa who was getting close to Fukata Kyoko and turned her head in disgust. This is also a scumbag, no wonder she is Chen Lian's manager and works together. Wang Zuxian walked over and pulled Jifa and said, "I'm going back. Let's talk next time." Kyoko Fukata bowed to Wang Zuxian and said, "Good night, senior." Jifa withdrew his gaze with some hesitation, turned to look at Wang Zuxian and said, "You are so worried about Lian, then go back quickly." Kyoko Fukata also bowed to Jifa, and after they left, she took out her mobile phone and sent a text message to Chen Lian. After Chen Lian, who was far away at home, saw the text message, he said to Li Yingxin, "They will be back soon." Li Yingxin hummed and lay on the bed, not wanting to move. "Well, I really couldn't move, so I had to lie down." Chen Lian walked over and picked her up to the guest bedroom next door, put her on the bed and said, "Have a good rest tonight, good night." When Li Yingxin saw Chen Lian about to leave, she reached out to hold him and said, "Please stay with me for a while and tell me your story. I want to get to know you." Chen Lian sat back down again, took Li Yingxin's hand and recalled, "Tell me why I got into art. In the spring of 1994, I went to audition for a film crew. Extremely cold. I've seen this movie and you did a great job." Li Yingxin suddenly interrupted happily, seeming very proud that she knew Chen Lian's story. Chen Lian smiled and continued to talk about the next thing. What he said was not good. It didn't sound like a story, but more like recalling his past. Time passed like this little by little. When Chen Lian talked about his creation of Wave 2 in Xiangjiang, Wang Zuxian's voice came from outside. Chen Lian paused for a moment, then turned to look at Li Yingxin and said, "You should have a good rest. I will tell you my story next time." Li Yingxin nodded obediently, grabbed Chen Lian's clothes and said, "Good night." Good night. After saying this, Chen Lian was about to stand up when he found that Li Yingxin was still holding onto his clothes. He turned to look at her and found that she was looking at him expectantly. Chen Lian smiled and bent down to kiss her on the forehead and said, "Good night, my princess." Li Yingxin also quickly raised her head and kissed Chen Lian on the face, then took back her hand and put it into the blanket with a happy smile on her face. This was the first time Chen Lian met such a simple girl like Li Yingxin, and he felt his heart soften. There was an urge in my heart to draw a picture for her, depicting her innocence. Chen Lian looked at Li Yingxin with his eyes closed, smiled, and turned around to go out, but suddenly paused after walking out. I just had the urge to paint again. It turns out that art has not abandoned me, it just needs a little emotional push. Chen Lian was suddenly in a good mood and felt that the world around him had become brighter. Wang Zuxian walked over from the other end of the corridor carrying an insulated food box. Looking at Chen Lian, who was standing there in a daze, he couldn't help but ask, "What are you doing here? I couldn't find you just now." Chen Lian came back to his senses and said, "Wake up and take a walk." Wang Zuxian looked at Chen Lian suspiciously and said, "Why do you feel even more depressed after a good sleep?" Chen Lian, "That's nonsense. I'll teach you a lesson tonight. Let you know what it means to be energetic." But now he had to fill his stomach first. At the Japanese-style small dining table, Chen Lian looked at the midnight snack Wang Zuxian had brought back, and his index finger suddenly moved. Wang Zuxian poured him a cup of tea and said, "Eat slowly, no one will compete with you." Chen Lian was startled for a moment, feeling as if he had heard the sentence somewhere today. Jifa looked at Chen Lian's eating posture and couldn't help but said, "You have ruined the image in my heart. You are not elegant at all." Chen Lian raised his eyes and rolled his eyes at her, then continued to eat with his head down. He is very tired today, okay. He needs to replenish his energy. Otherwise, how can I stay energetic at night? After Chen Lian devoured his food, he went to take a bath. Hot springs have healing properties and can restore vitality faster. Chen Lian soaked in the hot spring for a long time without waiting for Wang Zuxian to come over. Even Jifa, who likes to make sneak attacks, didn't come. "Zuxian, come and take a bath in the hot spring." Chen Lian felt that he was very energetic now, and he was full of energy when he shouted. Chen Lian shouted for a while before getting a response from Wang Zuxian. Wang Zuxian came to the pool and leaned against the wall, looking at Chen Lian and said, "Just be honest tonight and take good care of yourself. If I take a hot spring bath with you, I'm afraid you won't be able to get out of bed tomorrow. You look down on people, don't you? Come here." Chen Lian grabbed Wang Zuxian's hand and dragged her into the spring. Wang Zuxian was startled, and after standing firm in the spring, she hit Chen Lian. "You scared me to death." Chen Lian chuckled and said, "Don't you think I'm sluggish? You weren't shocked by me, but I'm full of energy now. You must be awesome." Wang Zuxian rolled her eyes at him, carefully observed Chen Lian's face for a while, and found that he was indeed quite rosy. "I really miss you." Chen Lian hugged Wang Zuxian and kissed her. Under the warm yellow light, the two figures gradually overlapped. Jifa, who was reading a book boredly on the other side of the courtyard, waited for a long time without waiting for Wang Zuxian to come back, and he almost guessed the ending. She just had some doubts in her heart about whether or not to ask Wang Zuxian to come back to bed. She would have to get up early to go to work tomorrow. Jifa hesitated for a while and then ran to ask Wang Zuxian to come back to sleep. "Well, I just asked Wang Zuxian to come back and sleep, nothing else." Li Yingxin woke up thirsty in the middle of the night, drank a glass of water, and went back to sleep. However, she kept hearing random noises and had a strange dream. In the dream, it was me, Chen Lian, and Li Fujian, but what the three of them did in the dream was embarrassing. Suddenly, a very sharp and high-pitched sound came from outside, like the cry of a wild cat. Li Yingxin was suddenly awakened, and her eyes were round as she started to do it. It took her a long time to recover. Suddenly, she thought of the dream she had just had, and she couldn't help but put herself into it. She even thought that if she and Lee Fuchhan were together, is it also like this? As soon as this idea appeared, Lee Yingsun felt out of control, and couldn't help but imagine that if this was true, she wouldn't have to hide the relationship between Li Fuchhan and Chen Lian. Does this not count as betrayal? I'm not here to ruin your lives, just join in. Li Yingsun suddenly felt that this was really possible, and she couldn't help but start thinking about how to realize this plan. While Li Yingsun was in a daze, it became quiet inside. When she came to her senses, she went back quietly. After soaking in the hot spring, Chen Lian opened the door and looked at the wooden door that had been opened a gap and couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. It seemed like someone had been here. Chen Lian asked Wang Zuxian and Ji Fa to dry their hair first, and then came to Li Yingsun's room alone. When Li Yingsun heard the footsteps, she immediately closed her eyes in fear, fearing that she would be discovered to have just stolen the teacher. Chen Lian stood by the bed and looked at Li Yingsun, who was pretending to sleep, and couldn't help but shake his head. He can't even pretend to be asleep. He pretended to be very good this afternoon. If Li Yingsun hadn't fallen down at that time, he wouldn't have been exposed. But now it seems that we have to thank Li Yingsun for falling at that time, otherwise the little princess would have had a secret crush. Chen Lian didn't expose Li Yingsun, so he turned around and went out again. After a good rest the next day, Chen Lian felt like he was revitalized again. Even the dark circles under my eyes are gone. There are very few things going on in Japan. The brand's opening went smoothly. Chen Lian went to meet Ito Muragi. It's just a friendship between friends. Ito Muragi is really a good friend. He also introduces people, what a good friend. Chen Lian spent a few days with a few girls in Tokyo when he was called away by a phone call from Li Fuchhan. The listing of Magic Flute Music is just around the corner, and Chen Lian, the major shareholder, must go. At the Tokyo airport, Chen Lian looked at Li Yingsun and asked, "Are you sure you want to go to New York with me?" Li Yingsun nodded and said, "Your company is listed, I want to congratulate you." "Okay, but Fu Zhen is very smart, so don't get discovered," Chen Lian said with some worry. Li Yingsun said confidently, "I'm not stupid either, don't worry." In the past few days, Li Yingsun thought of many plans, all thinking about how to persuade Li Fuchhan to let herself join their lives. "Now I have some ideas in my mind. Although some methods are old, they are very useful. The launch of Magic Flute Music is a good time." Seeing Li Yingsun's confident look, Chen Lian didn't know what to say. If he was really discovered, he would have to compensate Li Fuchhan more commercially. Soon the plane arrived in New York, and Chen Lian was picked up by Mr. Tang as soon as he got off the plane. Chen Lian didn't understand financial matters, so he entrusted Mr. Tang to handle them for him. It doesn't matter if he doesn't understand. He can find someone who understands. There are some rich people who know everything, so they shouldn't leave it to a professional team to take care of it. After Chen Lian arrived in New York, he went straight to Wall Street to meet with Li Fuchhan and Mr. Tang. "By the way, I also need to meet with other investors of Magic Flute Music. If the company goes public, the shares will be split. How many shares will be split by each person, how many shares will be released, and which brokerage firm to choose are all issues." Chen Lian didn't understand the specific operational details, but he still understood these issues. This is related to how much money he can make through listing, and whether his net worth will directly double. On the way to the Magic Flute, Chen Lian quickly became familiar with the current situation with the help of Mr. Tang's team. However, the specifics had to be discussed with Li Fuchhan. After arriving at the company, Chen Lian went directly to see Li Fuchhan. But before they even got down to business, they were disrupted by Li Yingsun. The first time Li Fuchhan saw Li Yingsun, he took her to his office to talk alone, locking Chen Lian out. Chen Lian felt that if he wanted to play, Li Yingxin would definitely not be able to play with Li Fuchen. If he was discovered, he would not be beaten to death by Li Fuchen later. Chen Lian turned to look at Mr. Tang with some anxiety and asked, "If I transfer part of the equity now, will it affect the listing?" Mr. Tang nodded and said, "You are the largest shareholder. Once you reduce your shareholding, it will definitely have an impact." "What if it is transferred to Li Fuchen?" Chen Lian asked again. Mr. Tang shook his head and said, "That won't work. It's already this time. Why do you want to transfer shares to her? She is already the second largest shareholder. If you let the shares go out, you will become the second largest shareholder." Chen Lian sighed and said, "Tang Sheng, you don't understand." "Mr. Tang, how can I understand if you don't tell me?" In Li Fuchen's office, she looked at Li Yingxin and asked, "Why are you with Lian?" Li Yingxin took Li Fuchen's hand and said coquettishly, "I met her when I was bored in Tokyo during my vacation. The magic flute is going to be launched. I just wanted to come and congratulate my sister." "That's it?" Li Fuchen asked, looking into Li Yingxin's eyes. Li Yingxin nodded without changing her expression and said, "Of course, what else can I do?" "Sister, why do you ask this?" Li Fuchen couldn't tell whether Li Yingxin was lying, so he suppressed the suspicion in his heart and said with a smile, "I'm just curious. I've been too busy during this period. I didn't know you were on vacation. I know my sister is very busy, and the company's listing is a big deal," Li Yingxin said considerately. Li Fuchen rubbed his temples and said, "After the company goes public, you can have a good rest. How about taking you to Bali for vacation?" "Okay." We agreed not to change. Li Yingxin stretched out her hand to hook up with Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen lovingly rubbed her head and reassured her. Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 470. Chapter 455-454. Everyone wants to spend all Chen Lian's money. It was very quiet outside the president's office of Magic Flute Music. Chen Lian was sitting on the small sofa at the door, reading a magazine boredly. There were quarreling sounds in the office, and Chen Lian's original worries were put aside. Not long after, the door of the office was opened. Li Fuchen came out and saw Chen Lian sitting leisurely at the door reading a magazine. He was not nervous at all, and the last doubt in his heart disappeared. Chen Lian closed the magazine and looked up at Li Fuchen and asked, "What have you sisters been talking about for so long? Why are you so curious?" Li Fuchen asked with a smile and narrowed his eyes. Chen Lian shrugged his shoulders and said, "I'm just bored sitting here." Li Yingxin poked her head out from behind Li Fuchen and blinked at Chen Lian, then pulled Li Fuchen and said, "I'm going shopping. You guys go get busy. See you in the evening." "Well, I'll ask someone to accompany you." Li Fuchen called his secretary to follow Li Yingxin. After Li Yingxin left, Chen Lian and Li Fuchen entered the office together. As soon as they entered, they hugged each other. After lingering for a while, they slowly separated. Chen Lian still felt a little guilty about Li Fuchen. He was really not a human being. Let's work hard to be a human being from now on. After the two chatted in the office for a while, they went to another conference room together. In a large conference room of Magic Flute Music, the entire listing team is busy here. Chen Linan and Li Fuchen were sitting in the corner of the conference room, discussing some details of the listing. The plan given by the team is to release 5 million shares for listing and circulation. The original plan was to take out more, but the investors of Magic Flute were unwilling to take any more, because the shares in their hands after the listing were all money. However, 5 million shares are enough for circulation, and we can continue to split and issue new shares in the future. The 5 million shares listed will have a total value of 85 million based on the set listing price. The first shares accounted for 16.5% of the total shares, and Chen Lian alone gave up more than 3%. Based on the set stock price, Chen Lian's shares can be exchanged for us $17 million. The issuance price was set at 17 yuan, and according to the valuation purpose, the total valuation of the music on the day of listing was $510 million US. This price is tens of millions of dollars higher than the stock price of Sohu's IPO in Chen Lian's memory, but it is not much higher. However, listing requires a clear picture and giving investors confidence. Magic Flute Music's listing plan also includes other businesses that will be developed in the future. For example, the popular Asian star music talent show is currently very popular. The popularity of Asian stars is also very popular in Europe and the United States. There are already successful cases, enough to make all investors tempted. In the listing plan, the management team of Magic Flute Music also proposed to imitate eBay to launch online shopping, records, headphones, music players, and other music-related products. In addition, there is also the development of music player products for PC and so on. This is completely different from Chen Lian's original plan, but when the company has developed to a certain stage, many plans can no longer keep up with the changes. In the future, Magic Flute may become a behemoth, with a market value that may exceed 10 billion. However, Chen Lian has also seen his own end. In the near future, he may lose a lot of shares until he no longer controls the company. Fortunately, Li Fuchen is still here, and she will be the largest shareholder of Magic Flute Music in the future. This can be regarded as compensation for Li Fuchen. Chen Lian doesn't value Magic Flute Music's shares very much. To him, Magic Flute Music is just a small subsidiary and does not occupy a major part compared with his other businesses. If you really want to become an internet giant, returning to China to invest is the best choice. Whether it is Sohu, NetEase, or Penguin, they all need investment. When the internet bubble bursts, Chen Lian can enter the market to buy the bottom. Next year will be a crucial year for Chen Lian to become the richest man. Chen Lian doesn't like money very much, but he wants to make sure he has enough money, otherwise it will be difficult to support his wife and children in the future. In Chen Lian's plan, each of his children must have at least 1 billion in entrepreneurial funds in the future. Chen Lian doesn't know how many children he will have in the future, but it is always good to earn more. Chen Lian doesn't care about the internet. If he invests in the internet in the future, he will only give these stocks to his children's mothers and let them keep them for them. Although Chen Lian is not worth tens of billions yet, he already treats himself as a billionaire. But when personal wealth reaches a certain level, money becomes just a number. Just like now, Chen Lian and Li Fuchen are discussing Magic Flute Music's market value of several $100 million, as if they are discussing a string of numbers. They don't feel happy or joyful about the wealth in their hearts. They just feel that the company's listing is a success and their life has entered a new stage. Chen Lian turned to look at Li Fuchen and said, "You still own 25% of the shares. According to the estimated stock price of the listing, you are now worth over 100 million yuan, and you are the youngest female billionaire." Li Fuchen also had a smile on his face, but he was still not too proud. He looked at him and said with a faint smile, "I hope hundreds of millions is just the beginning, and we will have more in the future." Of course. As long as Magic Flute Music's follow-up plan succeeds, you will soon be worth 1 billion. Chen Lian held Li Fuchen's hand and said, "Is the promise I made to you now considered complete? It's not even half done until we ring the bell on Nasdaq. What about the other half?" "The other half is you. I want to get married." "Well, please don't wait any longer." A trace of disappointment flashed through Li Fuchen's heart, but he still said with a smile, "Okay, then wait. Now is an important moment for the company's development, so you can wait a few years." Chen Lian breathed a sigh of relief. He really didn't know how to reject Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen was too important to him. Now Chen Lian particularly regrets his actions in Japan. Why was he so confused at that time? It's still too indulgent, so indulgent that you lose your mind. After temporarily skipping the topic of marriage, the two talked about the situation of the magic flute player. There are many brands of music players on the market now, including MP3 players and players using LNA format. The competition in the music player market is not small, but friends have not been able to affect the market of magic flute, and the supporting ecosystem of magic flute far exceeds theirs. Magic Flute even hired many people to spread free LNA format songs on the internet, and searched all music manufacturers that did not cooperate with Magic Flute music. This was not proposed by Chen Lian, it was entirely because a player company in Los Angeles started doing this. That company uploaded a large number of songs in MP3 format to the internet for users to download for free, trying to break the ecological advantage of Magic Flute. Friends and businessmen no longer care about martial ethics, and Magic Flute naturally doesn't care about martial ethics either. First, they asked the music companies that were cheated to jointly sue, and then they secretly did this kind of thing themselves. As long as the advantages of Magic Flute can be expanded, some minor flaws in early development can be ignored. The competition among manufacturers is also invisibly expanding the entire market, and the expansion of the market is also promoting the development of technology. This is a very good thing, and everyone is happy to see it. Only those music companies that have been pirated are crying in the toilet. Companies that have not joined Magic Flute Music now have to consider joining Magic Flute Music. At least you can still make money by working with Magic Flute, which is better than those hateful pirated copies. The funniest thing is that a few days ago, the music company lost a lawsuit against the company that uploaded pirated copies. Those companies now have to consider cooperating with Magic Flute, and Magic Flute still pays conscientiously. If only Magic Flute Music is left in the future, piracy will naturally disappear. Sometimes things always develop in unexpected ways, which Chen Lian finds quite interesting. Real business wars are actually very funny, but they are also very dangerous. If you are not careful, you may be in catastrophe. Magic Flute Music's listing plan has been finalized, and now it only takes a few days to officially ring the bell on Nasdaq. Chen Lian, the major shareholder, didn't have much to do. He held a few meetings and signed a lot of documents before leaving. Li Fujian was worried about these things and did not leave with Chen Lian. He stayed in the company and continued to be busy. Chen Lian didn't go out to play, let alone go to see Li Yingxin. Instead, he went home to sleep alone. The jet lag hasn't come over yet, and I'm feeling sleepy as hell. Chen Lian slept until night. When he got up, Li Fujian and Li Yingxin were already back. The two of them were eating in the living room. When Chen Lian came out, the two sisters had no reaction. Chen Lian still felt that it was a bit awkward for three people to be in the same space, and it was because his conscience couldn't bear it. While Li Fujian was going to the kitchen, he looked at Li Yingxin and asked, "Do you want to live here? You should have your own apartment in New York, right?" "Yes, but I don't want to go." Li Yingxin glanced at Li Fujian secretly, and then whispered to Chen Lian, "You don't want me to be here?" Chen Lian smiled and shook his head and said, "It's okay, I'm just asking because I feel a little strange." In the end, it was Chen Lian who failed to control himself. Most of the fault was his own. It was hard to blame Li Yingxin. "What are you talking about?" Li Fujian suddenly came out of the kitchen and looked at them and asked. Li Yingxin raised her head and looked at Li Fujian and said unhappily, "He doesn't want me to live here, he wants to live alone with you." "Chen Lian, you are so bold, you are not afraid of being discovered by your sister?" Li Fujian said with a smile, "I don't want to live alone with him. Let's sleep together tonight." "Really? Sister is so nice," Li Yingxin said happily. Seeing that Li Fujian didn't think much, Chen Lian breathed a sigh of relief. It was because he was too nervous. But this was not the way to go. Chen Lian thought about confessing to Li Fujian. When the time comes, it all depends on what Li Fujian says. If Li Fujian wants to part ways with him, he will give her all the magic flute music as compensation. While Chen Lian was thinking, Li Yingxin had already pulled Li Fujian to the bedroom, and when leaving, she secretly turned back and made a lip sync to Chen Lian. But Chen Lian didn't understand. He wanted to stop her and ask her if she just spoke in English or Korean, but he couldn't understand it at all. Forget it, ignore them for now, wait until the company is listed and confess to Li Fujian. After thinking about it, Chen Lian didn't feel so much pressure anymore. He would decide whether to live or die later. In the next few days, Chen Lian was not idle and acted as an automatic signature machine in the company every day. Listing a company is very troublesome. There are too many documents and contracts that require Chen Lian's signature and confirmation. Chen Lian doesn't even have time to see Jennifer, so it seems he can only wait until it is released. Maybe after going public, if he confesses to Li Fujian, he will be kicked out of the house, and he will have to find Jennifer to take him in. Time passed very quickly, and in a blink of an eye it was time for Magic Flute Music to be released. There were 2 other companies listed on the same day, but Magic Flute was the most promising, and everyone was paying attention to the listing of Magic Flute. That day's Washington Daily and New York Times had front-page news about Magic Flute Music. Outside the Nasdaq exchange, there was a lot of excitement, and countless investors and reporters gathered here. Everyone is waiting for the launch of Magic Flute Music to ring the bell, which is the bell ringing for money. Chen Lian also looked forward to it, but he was a little regretful that the Nasdaq floor clock was electronic. Rather than ringing the bell, it was better to press the launch button. Chen Lian even suspected that the buttons on the stage were not powered and were just decorations. Soon the time came, and Chen Lian and Li Fujian took the stage surrounded by a group of people. This was the most glorious moment of the Magic Flute. Chen Lian naturally gave up this moment to Li Fujian and walked half a step behind her. Li Fujian was really radiant today. He took the stage with confident steps and looked at the reporters and investors in the audience with great pride. I finally stood on this stage and attracted the attention of the whole world. Li Fujian stabilized his emotions, stood in front of the stage and said into the microphone, "Thank you everyone for choosing Magic Flute Music. Magic Flute Music is a young company, but it is also a company full of vitality. It belongs to the future and to you. In the future we will." Chen Lian stood next to Li Fujian and listened to her speech. He really found her very charming. I had the urge to marry her in my heart, but this idea disappeared after a few seconds. Marriage would only kill love, so it was better not to get married. Soon Li Fujian finished his speech, and the huge electronic clock behind him was about to count down. Li Fujian turned to look at Chen Lian and stretched out his hand. Chen Lian smiled and stretched out his hand to hold it, and then they stood in front of the bell button. The Magic Flute Music staff and investors at the scene all started counting down loudly. Chen Lian and Li Fujian also looked at each other and started counting down. 3, 2, 1. When the countdown reached the last second, Chen Lian and Li Fujian pressed the buttons in front of them at the same time, and the electronic clock behind them also sounded a crisp chime. Fireworks also exploded on the stage, and colorful paper flowers flew everywhere, falling on the shoulders of Chen Lian and Li Fujian. Chen Lian and Li Fujian hugged each other excitedly, and the smiles on their faces were captured and recorded by reporters. As the listing bell rang, Magic Flute Music stocks officially appeared on the exchange. Chen Lian and Li Fujian turned to look at the huge electronic screen. The stock price of Magic Flute Music on the electronic screen instantly changed from 17 yuan to 17.5 yuan, and then to 18 yuan. Every time the number jumped, everyone cheered. Chen Lian took Li Fujian's hand and looked at the numbers that were still beating, and said happily, "We succeeded, and you also proved yourself to the world." Li Fujian was so excited that his eyes filled with tears. He watched with red eyes as Chen Lian hugged him and kept saying in his ear, Thank you, thank you. I couldn't have done it without you. Chen Lian hugged Li Fujian and said, you will succeed without me. I should be the one thanking you. Li Yingxin in the audience looked at them with envy, envious that they could embrace each other openly in front of everyone, while she could only stand in the audience and be a silent audience. This photo appeared on the TV station's financial program that night, and many news programs even reported the news of Magic Flute Music's listing. The main reason is that the stock price of Magic Flute Music rose directly from 17 yuan to 36.5 yuan on the first day of listing. The stock price has more than doubled. Moreover, based on the stock price trends and expert predictions, Magic Flute Music's stock price will continue to rise. This directly made Chen Lian and Li Fujian become super rich. Chen Lian's shares in Magic Flute Music were instantly worth more than $300 million, and Li Fujian's shares were also worth more than $200 million, instantly attracting everyone's attention and envy. Time magazine also decided to invite Chen Lian and Li Fujian at this time. They will be the Global Person of the Year in 1999. Especially Chen Lian, you must invite him. A man with huge influence in both art and business must be on the cover of Time magazine. News of the listing of Magic Flute Music also spread back to China, and domestic newspapers and the financial channels of TV stations all reported the matter the next morning. In Huai's office, the big and small kings looked at the newspaper, sighed with envy, and then shouted something awesome. Zhang Qiaoyang of Sohu and Ding Lei of NetEase also saw the news and became more concerned about the listing. I'm also going to ring the bell at Nasdaq next year. These people were just envious, but some people were extremely happy after seeing the news. Chen Lian's girls were all calculating how much more than $300 million would be converted into RMB. Nearly 3 billion. Suddenly I feel I love him even more. I miss him after not seeing him for a few days. How do you spend so much money? Lian doesn't even spend it, so I should help him spend it? The car I liked yesterday is a bit cheap, so let's change it to an expensive one. The villa is a bit small. Isn't it suitable for us three sisters to live in it? Let the owner change it to a bigger one later. Mom. The newspaper said that Dad is a super rich man, so I don't have to go to school. Chen Lian was celebrating in New York with the company's people at this time. He and Li Fujian became billionaires. The other shareholders of the company also made a lot of money. Several of the company's top executives also became millionaires in an instant. Suddenly you have so much money, you must spend it well. Let's party. Hollywood starlets and beautiful models are all here. However, these girls have no fate with Chen Lian. He can only be held by Li Fujian while drinking and smoking cigars with the senior executives of investment banks. What a tragedy, there are so many good-looking girls who can only take advantage of their subordinates. No one knew about Chen Lian's sorrow, and they didn't even know that the girls in China were planning how to spend his money. But even if they knew about Chen Lian, they didn't care. They should plan slowly and wait for him to spend all the money before he returns to China. Go buy an island later. Build a house on the island. Build the airport. Buy a plane or a big yacht. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 471. Chapter 456-455. Lack of a child. The launch of Magic Flute is indeed a very happy thing. Both Chen Lian and Li Fujian drank too much that night. When we got home, we were all dizzy, and we rolled together as soon as we entered the house. Li Yingxin, who didn't go to the dinner, came out and hid after seeing this scene. Chen Lian kissed Li Fujian all the way from the living room to the bedroom, and they didn't separate until they rolled onto the bed. It's just that separation doesn't mean a pause, it means getting rid of all the constraints and celebrating. Li Fujian was crazy this night, and Chen Lian was also very strong. The frantic movement in the bedroom continued all night. Li Yingxin next door also couldn't sleep well all night, it was so tortured. Li Yingxin got up alone early the next morning and had breakfast alone. Neither Chen Lian nor Li Fujian got up. By the time Chen Lian and Li Fujian got up, it was already afternoon. Chen Lian rubbed his temples and thought about the madness last night, and couldn't help but worry about whether Li Fujian would be able to get out of bed today. Li Fujian propped up his arms and fell down just as he was about to sit up. He felt sore everywhere in his body. Especially my waist and legs, I feel like I can't move. Looking at Chen Lian sitting by the bed, Li Fujian raised his hand and slapped him. Why were you so crazy last night? Your legs were broken by you. Chen Lian scratched his head and looked at her and said, weren't you very happy last night? Li Fujian blushed and snorted, then you can't treat me like a toy. Chen Lian, didn't you treat me as a toy at first? You were so happy riding it. Li Fujian really couldn't go to work today, so he asked Chen Lian to pay attention to the company's stock price. Chen Lian ran out to check and came back to tell Li Fujian that the stock price had risen again. It was now 40 yuan and was expected to rise to 50 yuan before the market closed today. Internet stocks have been sought after since 1995. The amount of funds in the market has exploded due to lower interest rates. The records of multiple internet companies taking off overnight have made everyone crazy about chasing the internet. Where is Magic Flute now? When the online mall is established, the talent show begins, and the PC music player is officially launched, the stock price will soar again. After hearing Chen Lian's words, Li Fujian immediately felt energetic. He sat up with his hands and looked at Chen Lian and asked, really? Pull me up, I have to go to work. Come on, Chen Lian pushed Li Fujian back again. It is normal for the stock price to continue to rise. What is there to be excited about? The stock price will continue to rise at least until March next year. Even after the internet bubble completely bursts, the stock price of Magic Flute will not be cut in half. As long as it can make profits, the bubble will affect Magic Flute might have been even more popular than Magic Flute, even during the dot-com bubble. After Li Fujian was pushed back by Chen Lian, he looked at the chandelier on the ceiling and felt extremely happy. He turned to look at Chen Lian and said, how high do you think the stock price will rise to in the end? Chen Lian twirled Li Fujian's hair with his fingers, thought for a moment and said, 50 yuan is already very high, but judging from the current situation, it is estimated that 60 or 70 is possible. The market value is already 1 billion. If it continues to rise, it will be 1.5 billion, Li Fujian said happily. This is the first time I think it is so easy to make money. Don't get excited. The stock price will stabilize after a while, or even fall back. Chen Lian rubbed Li Fujian's head and said, the internet is unstable, but industry is reliable. You mean the Magic Flute player and mobile phone, Li Fujian said with a hum, that's true, but you don't plan to list the Magic Flute main company. Mobile phones are also being developed. I don't know when you want to make money. Speaking of mobile phones, Chen Lian suddenly remembered that he had almost forgotten this important event. In the past few days, he had forgotten about likes and mobile phones because of the launch. Chen Lian and Li Amin sat up and called Li Dabai and asked her to send over the prototype of the likes and mobile phone. After Chen Lian finished the call, Li Fujian sat up and asked, has the mobile phone been successfully developed? Chen Lian nodded and said, successful. Li Fujian became even more excited and wanted to sit up and go out to work again. Chen Lian pressed her back with his finger and said, why are you so excited? I'm not working today. Li Fujian said suddenly grabbed Chen Lian's hand and said, then go to bed if you don't want to work. Chen Lian, you are really not afraid of death. Come on, I won't get tired if I don't move. Just come. The war suddenly broke out in the bedroom again. Lee Yingsun in the living room heard the familiar voice again and covered her ears in pain. Don't these two people know how to rest? After a long time, Chen Lian and Li Fuchen came out of the bedroom. They were really hungry, otherwise they would have been ready to continue. At the dining table, Chen Lian was eating to replenish energy, while Li Fuchen was playing with the mobile phone given by Li Dabai. Li Yingsun sat nearby and looked at Chen Lian and asked curiously, "You have made a lot of money, how are you going to spend it?" Li Dabai, who brought the mobile phone over, also looked at Chen Lian curiously. She was also curious about how to spend the money. Chen Lian thought for a moment and said, "The stock price is not money. I only have $20 million now. I plan to buy an island, build a house, buy an airplane and a yacht, and I'll almost spend it all." Li Dabai, $20 million for this? Li Yingsun was very interested and said excitedly, "Why do you want to buy an island? Where are you going to buy it?" "I'm retiring. I don't want to work hard anymore," Chen Lian explained. Li Fuchen interrupted at this time, "You will retire and let me work, right?" Chen Lian chuckled and said, "You can also find a professional manager. Let's retire together." "I don't, you can retire on your own." Li Fuchen put down the mobile phone in his hand and said, "Now that the mobile phone has been successfully developed, when are you going to officially launch it?" "The production line is still being debugged. If you want to put it on the market, you have to wait for a month. I plan to have it around Christmas, the same time as last year's Magic Flute. This is not bad, it has become a tradition." After Chen Lian and Li Fuchen chatted for a while, they turned to Li Dabai and said, "Dabai, go and investigate which islands are currently for sale, sort out the information and send it to me." Li Yingsun said excitedly next to her, "Can I help you choose?" Chen Lian glanced at her and said, "Okay, but you can only give your opinion. I want to buy the island I like. It's me who retires, not you." "No problem," Li Yingsun said happily, and then took Li Dabai to the side to discuss. Before Li Yingsun and Li Dabai went out, Chen Lian specifically stopped her to chat with her alone. "I'm going to confess to your sister. I don't want to hide it from her anymore," Chen Lian said straight to the point. Li Yingsun immediately became nervous, looked at Chen Lian and said, "Are you sure?" "I'm not sure, but I can't keep hiding it," Chen Lian sighed and said. Li Yingsun saw Chen Lian's entanglement and pain, held his hand and said, "Wait for me, I have a solution, don't tell her yet." "Do you have a way?" "What way?" Chen Lian looked at her and asked. Li Yingsun shook her head and said, "I won't tell you, just wait for my news." Chen Lian sighed and said, "Let me say it. It's all my fault and I can't let you bear it." "Don't worry, I'm sure," Li Yingsun said seriously. "Really sure?" "Real." Li Yingsun's serious look made Chen Lian hesitate, but finally nodded in agreement. Chen Lian didn't see any action from Li Yingsun in the next few days, so he had to wait patiently. Under such circumstances, Li Yingsun still took Chen Lian out to play, and occasionally even stole food. Chen Lian even suspected that Li Yingsun was planning to go crazy for the last time and then quit on his own initiative. If that was the case, Chen Lian could accept it, but he felt that he had gone from feeling sorry for one person to feeling sorry for two people. Alas! There are some mistakes that we must not make. After all, Li Yingsun and Li Fuchen are not the girls in the entertainment industry. They are different. Chen Lian regrets it now. But it's too late to say anything, I can only accept this ending. Chen Lian and Li Fuchen came to the company that day to discuss the subsequent market development of the Magic Flute music player. At this time, downstairs of the company, the shareholders behind Magic Flute Music suddenly arrived. Magic Flute Music has gone public and its stock price continues to rise. They are now turning their attention to another company. The most profitable product of Chen Lian and Li Fujian is the music player, but they have always kept it in their hands and have not released it. Now they want to get a share of the pie. Of course, it's not just about buying shares in vain, but it's about being prepared. Only the exchange of interests will bring greater benefits, and people on Wall Street know this better than anyone else. Magic Flute player sales are very good, and the company is not short of money, so the bargaining chip they bring is not money, but the technology and supply chain needed for the Magic Flute music player. Wall Street investment banks have invested in many companies, including all high-tech, internet technology, basic industries, etc. in the world. They invest in all industries, and the resources they have are incredibly rich, and not any company can compare with them. They now want to negotiate with Chen Lian by using other technologies, such as the memory technology and battery technology that players most need, as well as the supply of component parts. To be honest, Chen Lian did not intend to give up his shares in the player, but he was shaken after recently discussing the development of Lixin Mobile with Li Fujian. Mobile phone research and development involves too many technologies and requires too much money. If you want to become a mobile phone giant in the future, you must continue to increase investment in research and development. The music player is another transitional product and can indeed be sacrificed. The glorious time of music players was only 10 years, and these 10 years happened to be an important moment for the rapid development of mobile phones. Chen Lian thought over and over again and decided to give up part of Magic Flute's shares. As for the listing, it is better to wait. Now is not the best time. Waiting for another year or two will be the best time. Wait until 2001, when the memory technology is good enough and the internet is completely popular, that will be the moment when music players are in their glory. Therefore, Chen Lian only exchanged 5% of his shares and got a lot of the technologies he needed. Chen Lian discussed this matter with them for 4 or 5 days before settling on it. He is a person who will not hesitate when making a choice. Everyone is prepared and the negotiations will not be tedious. You know my potential and I know your psychological price, so it's easy to negotiate. After negotiating the matter, Magic Flute immediately released the news that the main company of Magic Flute had completed the first round of financing. As soon as the news came out, it immediately stimulated the stock price of Magic Flute music. Shareholders like Chen Lian knew the news early and took advantage of this opportunity to make a fortune. The capital game is really profitable. Chen Lian felt that he easily made millions of dollars without doing anything. It was faster than robbing money. The year 1999 ended in such a boring money game. Chen Lian spent Christmas in New York with Jennifer. He spent Christmas with Jennifer in the previous 2 years, and this year was no exception. In Jennifer's small apartment, Chen Lian and her were sitting on the sofa watching boring TV shows. "I thought you wouldn't like it here," Jennifer said, leaning into Chen Lian's arms. Chen Lian asked in confusion, "Why do you say that?" "Because you are already a super rich man." Jennifer rubbed Chen Lian's chin and said, "Many internet company bosses will spend money and enjoy life after they get rich. You can see it in newspapers every day." Chen Lian put his chin on Jennifer's head and said, "It's not the first day I have money. It's different from those people. And I like it here. This apartment is full of our memories." Jennifer was very happy that Chen Lian said this. She turned over and straddled him and said, "This is the cabin we love, but it's not perfect yet." "What's missing?" Chen Lian asked doubtfully. "Lack of a child." "Well, one isn't enough, right?" Chen Lian and Jennifer looked into each other's eyes and immediately kissed each other passionately. They embraced each other passionately on the small sofa and rolled onto the carpet. There are still boring soap operas playing on the TV, but now they don't care, they are just working hard to make children. "Come a few more times." "But I feel like it's full and about to overflow." "I think you have great potential, let's try it again. Then go deeper this time." Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 472. Chapter 457 456. Goodbye 1999. When the warm winter sun shone into the room through the window, Jennifer slowly opened her eyes. Yesterday was Christmas Eve, but it was not a peaceful day at all. But I also received a gift from Chen Lian last night, which was full of gifts. Jennifer touched her lower abdomen subconsciously, and now she can still recall the heat last night. I hope to receive a real surprise when the new millennium approaches. Chen Lian also woke up at this time and looked at Jennifer sitting up and hugging her from behind while bathing in the sun. "What are you thinking about?" Chen Lian asked with a smile. Jennifer shook her head and said nothing. She was immersed in beautiful fantasy just now. Chen Lian didn't continue to ask. Today was Christmas, and he still had to think about how to arrange the evening. Soon they got up, washed and dressed and went out together. Jennifer wants to have a simple date with Chen Lian like ordinary people, go shopping, eat, watch movies, whatever. Chen Lian is naturally willing to have such a simple date, which is plain but warm and has a little romance for two people. It's just that time flies by quickly and Christmas passes by inadvertently. After Christmas, New York gets busy again. For them, the new year has begun, but for Chen Lian, it's still a little early. Returning to China for New Year's Eve. This year is the turn of the century. What a rare opportunity. Chen Lian wants to celebrate the new year with his children and take them to see the new century. In fact, Chen Lian still wants to spend the New Year's Eve with his girls, but this is not realistic. There may be opportunities in the future, but certainly not now. New Year's Eve was coming in 3 days. Chen Lian was planning to go back immediately, but the sudden appearance of Sophie Marceau temporarily put his plan on hold. Sophie Marceau just happened to come to New York, so it makes no sense not to meet her. Chen Lian also misses her very much. It's better to wait until the last day to go back to China for New Year's Eve. However, Sophie Marceau doesn't have much time. She only has 1 day to rest. Her new movie 007 has just been released and she has been busy promoting it. It is not easy to squeeze out a day this time. It's just that the meeting between the two was extremely hasty. It was already past 10 in the morning when Sophie Marceau got off the plane in New York. Chen Lian had lunch together after receiving her. Sophie Marceau ate in a hurry, as if she didn't have time to eat in the morning. Chen Lian kept cutting steaks for her, but he didn't eat much himself. After Sophie Marceau finished the last piece of steak, she breathed a sigh of satisfaction. After drinking all the wine in the glass, she wiped her mouth and looked at Chen Lian and said, "What time is it now?" Chen Lian raised his hand, glanced at it and said, 12 and 5 minutes. "Time is running out, we have to hurry up." Sophie Marceau put down the napkin and pulled Chen Lian out. Chen Lian asked in confusion, "Where are you going?" Sophie Marceau pulled Chen Lian back to look at him and said, "I'm flying to Los Angeles tonight. We only have less than 5 hours. Where do you want to go?" "Okay, I understand." Chen Lian immediately followed Sophie Marceau quickly. Time is indeed very tight. There is too little that can be done in 5 hours, but there are many things that can be done. Chen Lian didn't like this feeling very much. It was like a hasty breakfast and a mess. But being able to fill her stomach made Sophie Marceau very satisfied, but she was a little nostalgic and didn't want to leave. Chen Lian stroked her face, brushed the hair from her forehead and said, "After this promotion, will you still have work? Do you want to take a break? Will you go on vacation together?" Sophie Marceau asked expectantly. Chen Lian nodded and said, "Of course, every time we meet is too hasty. After I finish attending con next year, let's go traveling together." Sophie Marceau immediately hugged Chen Lian's neck and said, "Okay, then I won't be filming next year. It just so happens that I don't like that drama either." "Then we have an agreement," Chen Lian said, kissing her forehead. "Of course. Maybe you can have a child." I hope it will succeed this time, Sophie Marceau said expectantly. Yes, but you have to stop smoking and drink less alcohol. Then you kill me, don't you also quit? I'm already under control. Chen Lian flicked Sophie Marceau's forehead and said, just try your best. Sophie Marceau said helplessly, okay, I will work hard. After getting along for a short time, Chen Lian was about to send Sophie Marceau away. After Chen Lian watched Sophie Marceau get on the plane, he felt empty in his heart. Maybe it was because the time they spent together was too short. Chen Lian has always liked Sophie Marceau and her uninhibited character, which is different from all the girls Chen Lian knows. It is really like a rose with thorns, which is unforgettable. Chen Lian is already looking forward to next year. After Cannes is over, he can go to romantic Turkey, Tokyo, and Paris with Sophie Marceau, and study the origin of life. After Sophie Marceau left, Chen Lian was also going back to China. As for Li Yingxin, she couldn't go with Chen Lian this time. Now she doesn't want to go with Chen Lian. She is busy conquering Li Fujian. The two of them plan to go to Bali after the new year. Chen Lian still didn't confess to Li Fujian before leaving. Li Yingxin kept blocking her, so Chen Lian had no choice but to respect her idea. Since she wanted to solve Chen Lian herself, she would not interfere. Chen Lian still has a lot of things to do, and the domestic Leixin mobile phone is still waiting to be released. Chen Lian's goal was not the international market from the beginning, but to establish a foothold in the country first, wait until Magic Flute continues to grow, and then use the influence of Magic Flute to promote mobile phones internationally. Mobile phones are different from music players. Music player Chen Lian is a no-brainer and can be directly promoted internationally. But for mobile phones, it is too difficult for domestic brands to go global. It is better to develop slowly in China first. On the plane back home, Chen Lian looked at the information Li Dabai prepared for himself, which contained information about the island for sale to the outside world. Each one lists the specific data and photos of the island in detail, and they all look very good. There are also several small islands specially marked by Li Dabai and Li Yingxin. The scenery and area are very good, and Chen Lian also likes them. When you have time, you can take a look and decide whether to sell or not. Buying an island is not buying a house. You must conduct a thorough inspection before doing so. Chen Lian read the information for a while and then closed his eyes and rested, his mind reviewing the past year. The year 1999 actually passed quite quickly. Chen Lian felt that he was so busy that if he didn't pay attention, a year would pass by. I made several movies, acted in TV series, put on a variety show, opened a new company, listed a company, and held an art exhibition. This year's harvest is much more than in previous years. Chen Lian didn't even know how he was so busy. But after finishing the busy work of launching the Leixin mobile phone, I can take a complete rest. Chen Lian is looking forward to his retirement life. More than 10 hours later, the plane landed in Beijing. Chen Lian breathed in the bad air in Beijing. The air was very grainy, but Chen Lian felt as if he had drank coffee, which instantly refreshed him. The smell of home. Back in my mother's arms. After Chen Lian came out of the airport, he got into work mode. There is still one day before the New Year's Eve, and Chen Lian has made arrangements for the launch of the Leixin mobile phone before the New Year's Eve. Chen Lian came to Leixin's original office in Beijing and found that it had changed drastically. What was originally just a small station of a few dozen square meters is now a regular branch of nearly 1,000 square meters. Li Fujian did a lot of work that Chen Lian didn't know about. Without Li Fujian, Chen Lian's career would be at least half paralyzed. If Li Fujian fails, Chen Lian will not be able to retire even if he wants to. Thinking of this, Chen Lian wants to give himself 2 more slaps to make you want to waste your time. Now you know how to worry. Chen Lian sighed and walked into the office. Everyone waiting for the meeting in the office heard Chen Lian sigh, and they were all frightened to sit upright. The boss sighed before the meeting even started. Is this dissatisfaction with the mobile phone? Chen Lian noticed their expressions and did not explain. The key was for the boss to remain mysterious. Let's talk about the specific plans for the launch of the mobile phone. Chen Lian sat down and looked at them and said, Mr. Chen, based on the previous VCD sales channels, we have now opened 35 offline stores, and have also joined shopping malls such as Gomsuneng. Our sales points cover almost the whole country. In terms of promotion, TV advertising and print media advertising have been rolled out in all directions. Currently, there are 5 TV stations, more than 30 print media, and outdoor advertising exceeding 500 yuan. In addition, advertisements have been placed in several movies and TV series invested by Hong'an. The overall inventory is 80,000 mobile phones, and the production line can increase production capacity at any time. In terms of after sales, Chen Lian listened to their report and looked at the plan in his hand. Overall, he was quite satisfied. It is not popular to hold new phone launch conferences in China. There are not so many technology fans, so it would be a waste. After listening to their reports, Chen Lian added a few more points and asked for all the specific details before ending the meeting. On New Year's Day, Leixin mobile phone was officially launched. This speed is several months faster than that of Bird. Bird just obtained the mobile phone license not long ago, and it has not yet produced a mobile phone. In this regard, Chen Lian could only say one regret to Bird, as he would definitely be able to widen the gap with them by taking the first step. It will probably take a lot of effort for Bird to catch up. The resources that Bird can use cannot compare with Leixin. At least in China, the sales network owned by Leixin is incomparable to that of Waveguide. I really think that the former VCD boss was in vain. Speaking of advertising, Bird cannot compare with Leixin, and Chen Lian's resources cannot be compared with Bird. Apart from anything else, Bird is unable to catch up because Asia Star is so popular and has helped Leixin Mobile become famous in advance. As for domestic mobile phones, Chen Lian is very confident that he will become the industry leader in the next few years. As long as the follow-up research and development is not stretched, sooner or later it will be able to go abroad and go global. Scientific research is just one word in Chen Lian's concept. Throw money. Use money to invest in talent and use money to invest in research and development. If you can't develop the technology, just give me money to buy it. It doesn't matter even if Chen Lian can't make any money from Leixin. Just don't lose money. If the mobile phone industry loses money, it's not a small fortune. Chen Lian can't afford to lose money. The bottom line is that profits and losses are even. After arranging the Leixin mobile phone matter, Chen Lian left the company. Wait until after the new year to hear the good news. Chen Lian left the company and went home directly instead of looking for his girls. This period of time has been crazy enough, and now he just wants to sleep quietly. When you wake up, go and spend time with your children. On New Year's Eve, Chen Lian set out from home, first to pick up Chen Mengli from Gong Lina's place, then to pick up his eldest son from Chen Myron's place, and finally to pick up Sissy and Fifei from Lu Xiaoli's place. Chen Lian actually regrets naming his little girl Chen Fifei now. She always feels like calling her Sissy. But the name has already been chosen, so what else can be done? If my daughter doesn't like it when she grows up, let her change it herself. Lao Chen's family is really prosperous now, and there may be new members next year. Chen Lian spent the whole day preparing a villa paradise for the children. At night, Chen Lian took the children out to set off fireworks with them. Turn-of-the-century fireworks must have been beautiful. Several children were very excited along the way, but Chen Fifei was biting her fingers in Sissy's arms. She's still too young, and when she gets older she'll probably be yelling as excitedly as her sister. Chen Lian told Qian to be careful while driving. Sissy, please be careful, don't swing around, and don't let your seat belt fall off. I know, Dad, Sissy felt a little calmer after agreeing. Chen Lian glanced through the rearview mirror and drove seriously. Soon the car drove to the suburbs. Chen Lian looked at the gloomy sky and decided to wait a little longer. It's best to set off fireworks when it's completely dark. Chen Lian asked the children not to get out of the car while he went to the trunk to move the fireworks. After he finished setting up the fireworks and it was completely dark, Chen Lian asked the children to get out of the car. The weather was so cold that several of the children felt shivering as soon as they got out of the car. The youngest would sit on the baby seat and lean against the car window to look out. Chen Lian gave each of the children a firecracker and taught Sissy how to light fireworks. Then he took the youngest, Chen Fifei, out of the car and stuffed her completely into his clothes. Sissy, take your sister with you, be careful, let them go one by one. Chen Lian hugged Chen Fifei and shouted to Sissy. I know. This isn't my first time, Sissy shouted without looking back. Sissy is 13 years old this year, and she has become a bit rebellious due to being spoiled. She is brave and usually very naughty, but she is also more like a big sister who takes the lead. Sissy first lit flowers for her younger siblings, and then ran to set off fireworks. Several children were holding flowers that sparkled in the dark night. The fireworks that Sissy lit also shot up into the sky, blooming brilliantly in the dark night. So beautiful. Dad, it looks good. Daddy is bright. Oh. Goodbye 1999. Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 473. Chapter 458-457. Hello 2000. Hello 200. Chen Lian looked at the first ray of sunshine rising in 2000 and waved gently at it. On the first day of the new century, it seems that the whole world is cheering and everyone is full of hope for the future. Chen Lian also received great news on the first day of the new century. Leixin mobile phones achieved very good sales results on the first day they were launched. The 2,888 yuan Leixin A1 sold 8,000 units at the end of 1999. Very auspicious figures and sales. So many units were sold in just one day. All the staff at Leixin were so excited. Chen Lian was also very happy, but he also knew that this was because of the New Year's Day discount on the launch of the new machine, and he would not sell 8,000 units every day. However, such results also show that Leixin's early work was not in vain. Such sales performance cannot be compared with the giants in the mobile phone industry. Not to mention that Nokia can sell tens of thousands of mobile phones a day, and even Ericsson, which ranks third, cannot catch up. But Leixin is still young, and there are plenty of opportunities in the future to surpass the past. Chen Lian is full of confidence in this. All employees of Leixin are also confident in this. After getting off to a good start and making money, Chen Lian naturally wanted to express his gratitude by giving all employees of Leixin Mobile an extra month's bonus. After rewarding his employees, Chen Lian naturally also wanted to reward himself. The flat floor he lives in now is still too small, and it's time to change it after living there for several years. He gives girls villas every day, but Chen Lian has never bought a big house for himself. This time, reward yourself with some luxury. Buy an island. Chen Lian called Li Dabai and asked her to arrange to see the island by herself. Chen Lian already has his first choice in mind, an archipelago located in Fiji. Fiji is one of the few countries that allows non-citizens to own private property. The most important thing is that the scenery there is so beautiful. Chen Lian is going to buy an island, taking not only Li Dabai with him, but also a group of children and their mother. Not many girls knew that Chen Lian wanted to buy the island. Li Dabai only told a few girls he had good relationships with. Bai Qing, Chen Miran, Lu Xiaoli, Ji Fa and Wang Zuxian in Japan all came to join in the fun. If Gong Li hadn't been the chairman of the jury at the Berlin Film Festival, she would have come too. I've seen people buy houses, but I've never seen anyone buy an island. He said it as if someone had seen it before. Chen Lian had never seen anyone buy an island before, so he was very excited too. The island he was interested in was very expensive. The price of buying the island alone was $60 million. Regardless of the fact that the main island has already been developed, Chen Lian will have to prepare at least $70 million for the subsequent development of the remaining 3 islands, plus private jets and so on. This price is killing me. The girls all said that if Chen Lian didn't spend any money, it would be a super scary figure. When Chen Lian flew to Fiji with the girls, he got on a small plane and flew around the islands. After going down to see the islands, Chen Lian immediately decided to buy the islands. The 4 islands can also be purchased separately, but Chen Lian does not want to buy one island separately. 4 islands are just right. Gong Li will take a few girls to share one island, Chen Myron will take a few girls to share one island. Bai Qing can take a few people herself, but she wants to share one island anyway, and Li Fuchen will also share one island. As for Chen Lian, he just wandered around and went to wherever he wanted. The area of each island is not small. It is enough to build a resort hotel. When the time comes, build more villas and let them share it. The girls who came with Chen Lian all went to the beach to bask in the sun, while Chen Lian went to discuss with the people in Fiji how to pay. It is absolutely impossible to make a one-time payment. No wealthy person would choose to spend tens of millions to buy an island at once. Installments must be paid in installments. Chen Lian doesn't have that much money for the full payment. If it were the full payment, Chen Lian would have to mortgage part of the shares of Magic Flute. After Chen Lian decided to buy the island, Mr. Tang arranged for someone to come over and sign a contract with Fiji to pay for the island. There are a lot of procedures and there are many restrictions. Chen Lian will not wait here forever. I'm going to Berlin next month, so I don't have time to go through the formalities here. Chen Lian was going to be busy, but the girls were not busy. The scenery in Fiji was so beautiful, they just thought they were on vacation. While they are on vacation here, they can also help Chen Lian consult on how to develop and design these islands, saving Chen Lian and the designers from having to figure it out. Jifa and Chen Myron were the most excited and spent the whole day studying how to develop the island. Jifa wanted to build a private island full of artistic flavor, but Chen Myron felt that such a large island was too wasteful to live on by herself. She should use it to build a resort hotel and occasionally receive tourists to earn some money for the maintenance of the island. Seeing how enthusiastic they were, Chen Lian simply left it all to them. Even if they had no sense of aesthetics on such a beautiful island, they wouldn't make it ugly. The weather in Berlin in February was very good, not as cold as Beijing. Chen Lian sat with Lao Jia and Zhang Yumo in Berlin, eating pig's trotters and drinking beer, and chatted happily. Zhang Ziyi sat next to Chen Lian and was not very fond of pig's trotters. She felt that eating pig's trotters was too unladylike, so she got bored and chatted with Zhao Tao. This combination is quite interesting, 2 directors, 2 heroines, but only 1 male lead. If only my father and mother came to the Berlin Film Festival, Chen Lian would definitely not come. Since he can't win an award anyway, why come here to accompany him? However, Chen Lian is very optimistic about the platform and feels that his acting skills in the platform will not be a big problem in winning a Best Actor. What's more, the chairman of the jury this time is Gong Li, she will definitely support him. We are all from our own family, so winning awards is no small matter. In the next few days, Chen Lian and Zhang Ziyi went to watch movie screenings all day long, and the two were inseparable. Who makes Gong Li, the chairman of the jury, unable to come out? Chen Lian can only go with Zhang Ziyi, otherwise he can't watch the movie with Zhang Yumu. There are many people who know Chen Lian at the Berlin Film Festival. He has been traveling around with Zhang Ziyi these days. The gossip has spread for a long time. Even Gong Li was busy with the selection and heard the news. The day before the film festival ended, When Chen Lian and Zhang Ziyi were eating in the hotel, Gong Li suddenly appeared. Chen Lian didn't notice Gong Li coming at first, but he clearly felt Zhang Ziyi's body tightening, and subconsciously turned his head to follow her gaze. Gong Li, dressed in black and wearing a hat, was walking over here. Her whole aura was in full swing, and she looked a bit scary. Chen Lian swallowed the beef in his mouth, patted the back of Zhang Ziyi's hand and said, "If you finish eating, go back to your room and rest first." "Okay." Zhang Ziyi immediately stood up and ran away before Gong Li came over. After Zhang Ziyi left, Gong Li came over and sat down. She looked at Chen Lian and asked lightly, "Is she Zhang Ziyi? Why does she look so afraid of me?" "Aren't you afraid?" "I'm scared when I see your aura," Chen Lian said helplessly. Gong Li snorted and said, "I didn't see that you were afraid. Aren't you very happy flirting with her?" Chen Lian rolled his eyes and did not answer the question, and asked doubtfully, "Is the selection over? How can you, the chairman, still move around freely?" "It's over. I'm the chairman and I still have this right," Gong Li said proudly. Chen Lian immediately couldn't help but asked, "Then do I win the prize?" "No. I voted for someone else," Gong Li said immediately. Chen Lian, this bitch is seeking revenge for her private life. Take him back to the room and teach him a lesson." Chen Lian took Gong Li and left, heading straight to the hotel's presidential suite. As soon as she entered the room, Gong Li was made to look like a white poplar by Chen Lian, and her clothes were thrown everywhere. "Tell me. Who did you vote for?" "I won't tell you." "Okay, if you still dare to be tough, open your mouth and let me see who is tougher, you or me." After a long time, Gong Li finally surrendered, grabbing Chen Lian's arm and begging for mercy. "I was wrong, I didn't vote for anyone else, I voted for you. It's too late to admit your mistake now, so turn around and stand up," Chen Lian said without mercy. Gong Li turned around obediently, silently enduring Chen Lian's anger, and then yelled wantonly, showing no signs of being the chairman of the Berlin Film Festival jury. Time soon came to the night of the awards ceremony. Chen Lian was sitting in the audience with Zhang Ziyi on the left and Lao Jia on the right. The presentation of awards on the podium was already halfway through, and the small prizes and thank you awards were all over. Now it's the turn of the slightly bigger prize. The film that won the Alfred Ball Silver Bear Award was Platform, Jia Zhang. As soon as the host finished speaking, the audience burst into applause. Lao Jia hugged Chen Lian excitedly and then went on stage to receive the award. Although this award is good, it is not as good as the Special Jury Award, nor as good as the Jury Silver Bear, let alone the Golden Bear. But for Lao Jia, this award is enough of a surprise. Chen Lian was now looking forward to his award. When Lao Jia came off the stage with the trophy, the jury's special award was also announced. The winner is an American movie. After this award is over, it will be the best actor or actress. Chen Lian was already ready to win the award at this time, and even prepared his acceptance speech. The winner of the Best Actor award this year is Platform, Chen Lian. When Chen Lian's name was announced, no one was surprised. Everyone felt that there was nothing wrong with him. His acting skills were worthy of being the best actor. The applause in the venue was even louder than when Jia Zhang won the award just now. Everyone around Chen Lian stood up and applauded him. Chen Lian also stood up to thank those around him, hugged Jia Zhang and Zhao Tao, and then went on stage to receive the award. Zhang Ziyi originally planned to hug Chen Lian and congratulate him, but Chen Lian ignored him. "You're not from the crew of the platform. Who's going to hug you?" "Humph." After Chen Lian took the stage and took the trophy, he looked at the people in the audience and forgot all about the acceptance speech he had prepared. This is not the first time he has won the Best Actor award, but it is the first time he has gone on stage to get the Best Actor trophy in person. "I didn't know where to start with a lot of things in my heart. In the end, I just said into the microphone, 'Thank you everyone,' and thank myself. Thank you for your seriousness in acting, thank you for living up to this role, and thank you to all the crew. After Chen Lian finished speaking, he took the trophy and walked off the stage. He suddenly felt relieved. It seemed that the best actor was just that. It doesn't really matter what grand slams you get. Acting is for fun, not for winning awards. Just be worthy of yourself and the role. It was no surprise that the final grand prize at the Berlin Film Festival was taken away by my father and mother. The only change may be that Zhang Ziyi did not wear a belly band to receive the award on stage with Zhang Yimou this time. Zhang Ziyi lost an opportunity for exposure and hype, and also lost a dark history. Now she doesn't need that kind of hype, it's enough to have Chen Lian behind her. Are you unhappy if you didn't win the award? Chen Lian asked while working hard behind Zhang Ziyi. Zhang Ziyi blushed and snorted a few times before saying, I want to be like Gong Li win awards when I debut. I want to be the next Gong Li. Chen Lian slapped Zhang Ziyi and said, you are now the next Gong Li. She was also lying here yesterday. Zhang Ziyi. That's not what I'm talking about, but it doesn't matter. It's better this way. After the trip to Berlin, Chen Lian flew to Fiji again, this time taking Gong Li and Zhang Ziyi with him. Gong Li was not here to see the island, but to see the children. Zhang Ziyi went to the island, and that was an island. It's not a villa or anything like that. I want to bask in the sun on the beach, you come with me. After Zhang Ziyi arrived on the island, he pulled Chen Lian to bask in the sun. Chen Lian. I should be glad that there are no paparazzi here, but why do black photos of Zhang Ziyi always appear in my mind? But the beach is really nice. It's even better to put sunscreen on the girls. You are not allowed to paint each other, I should do this kind of thing, you can just enjoy it, Chen Lian shouted while looking at the girls on the beach. Roll. Bah, shameless. Who is enjoying it? Chen Lian's shamelessness attracted a lot of scolding. Sissy smiled happily when she saw Chen Lian being scolded, but she still took care of her old father's shame and took the initiative to run over and let Chen Lian apply sunscreen. Go to your mother. Chen Lian poked her back with his finger. Huh. Daddy, I won't feel sorry for you next time, Sissy ran away angrily. Chen Lian was very disappointed. There were only a few girls on the island and it was already a mess. If other girls came too, we don't know what the mess would be like. My dream of a sea-to-sky feast may never come true in my lifetime. Forget it, let's bask in the sun, I'll go to Cannes and Venice later. Chen Lian participated in the Cannes film The Mountain, That Man, That Dog, and had no chance of winning the award, but he still wanted to support Huo Jiankai. In fact, this is indeed the case. Chen Lian went to Cannes and gained nothing except drinking with Lao Huo and Zhang Wen for a few days. By the time Zhang Wen and Lao Huo each walked away with a trophy, one was the jury award and the other was the Louis Buñuel award. Zhang Wen was very disappointed. He went for Jin Zongji, and he had to bear the penalty of being banned from teaching for 5 years. After the award ceremony, he took Chen Lian to have a heavy drink before he recovered. Huo Jiankai was extremely happy. The last Chinese director to win the Louis Buñuel Award was Zhang Yimou. Huo Jiankai returned to China with honor, and the movie was finally released in China. The copyright was also sold to Japan. It earned 600 million yen at the box office within a few months of its release in Japan, and it is still being screened more often. Cannes in May is over, and Chen Lian has become more leisurely again, flying back and forth between China and Fiji. When I returned to China, I worked on the Magic Flute and Leixin mobile phones. When I went to Fiji, I studied the origin of life with Sophie Marceau. I lived a very happy life. The 3 islands have not yet been developed. Chen Lian and Sophie Marceau have not spent much time in Fiji. They have visited London, Paris, Tokyo, and New York. After playing for 2 months, Chen Lian flew to Venice after sending Sophie Marceau back to Paris. Su Jo Hee, who participated in the Venice Film Festival, is very likely to win an award. At least Jo Gong's acting skills are expected to win the Best Actress in Venice. Finally, under the witness of Chen Lian, Mr. Jo also won the first Best Actress award in his life. He looked at Chen Lian in the audience from a distance on the award stage and expressed his gratitude and love. For me to be able to win this Best Actress award, the thing I should be most grateful to is the actor Chen Lian of this movie, because I really love him. This is not an act. Mr. Jo's bold expression of love instantly detonated the scene, and everyone applauded. Mr. Jo also rushed off the stage and hugged Chen Lian under the spotlight. This Best Actress trophy is a testimony of their love. 3 months later, on a small island in Fiji, Chen Lian was leisurely basking in the sun with a book covering his face. Jifa and Wang Zuxian were lying next to each other, applying sunscreen to each other. On the beach not far away, Bo Qing and Zhou Huimin sat under umbrellas and drew Chen Lian with a paintbrush. Behind Bo Qing, Sissy and Chen Mengli were instructing her to make Chen Lian look ugly. Behind them, Chen Fifei was protesting against her brother Chen Ziyu for snatching her shovel. In the lush woods behind the beach, the sound of mahjong tiles being played in a villa kept ringing. The princess and Zhang Guorong were wailing because Gong Li had cheated on her, but Chen Miran was shouting to win them all back. In the swimming pool below the villa, Chen Zihan and Fan Bingbing were working together to bully Zhang Qingqing. Li Dabai was lying on the swing listening to Gao Yuan's nagging pleas for peace, and wanted to join the double white combination. Lu Tao was listening next to him, looking like Li Dabai's puppy legs. On the blue sea, a yacht was driving back. Sophie Marceau and Jennifer were sitting on the deck, drinking juice and comparing whose child would be born first. Chen Lian, who was sleeping, suddenly heard someone calling him. When he opened his eyes, he found that it was Norika Fujiwara and Kyoko Fukada running over to invite him to attend their show a beauty swimming party that night. At this time, in the blue sky, a private plane was flying quickly. Li Fujian and Li Yingxin were sitting on the plane overlooking the island. Li Shui squinted at the plane, thinking about leaving the film and television company to Chen Miran and going to work for Leixin Mobile to become the next Li Fujian. Li Bingbing looked at her sister from the side and felt that her life was quite tiring and she was not as relaxed and happy as the girls picking up shells in the distance. Mr. Jo was barefoot on the beach picking up shells, followed by the impatient Ning Jing. She was really annoyed with Su Qing, and she was so squeamish that she really wanted to fight with her. Su Qing couldn't stand Ning Jing either, and was complaining to Lu Xiaoli about Ning Jing's big butt. Lu Xiaoli forced a smile and looked at Yu Fiheng, who was coming to the island for the first time, for help. Unfortunately, Yu Fiheng was more annoyed than her, so she got up and ran away. If you have time to listen to Su Qing's complaints, why not watch Zhang Ziyi and Zhang Beizi fight? How interesting is a mainland celebrity and the successor to the Hong Kong diva. Chen Lian, who was woken up, looked at the scene and sighed silently in his heart. Life is not good at all. My waist has been hurting recently and I really want to escape from this island. I want to become a monk, please call me Master Void from now on. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 474. Dear adoptive fathers, this ends the text of this book. The time in the book stays in 2000, but the extra chapter will continue. Chen Lian's story is not over yet. I will continue to update the extra chapter to give the characters in the story a perfect ending. Chen Lian's friends, his lovers, and his children will all have their own stories. In fact, I also want to know what kind of stories and lives these characters will have in the future timeline. In the process of writing the book, I often felt out of control. I felt that Chen Lian had his own ideas, his own destiny and choices. So sometimes people will say that Shayza writes about being flamboyant or slutty. In fact, that's not what I wanted to write. It was Chen Lian who insisted on doing it. I won't take the blame. Go scold Chen Lian if you can. In the past few months, due to rectification, the main text has been deleted, and revised many times. Every time I changed it, I felt heartbroken. I feel that Chen Lian's life is incomplete, his art has been castrated, and his interaction with the girl has been castrated. Every time I delete it, I feel like an executioner, bit by bit, giving away the spirit of Chen Lian. Cut off. There are regrets in my heart, but more importantly, I feel satisfied and full of gains. I feel that I have written a flesh and blood character. He may not be perfect, but I like him very much. I'm not very good at saying sad things, and I've said too many words of thanks. I can say a few happy words, but I plan to say them in the next book. Haha, I still hope you can support the next book. I just felt a little sorry. I originally planned to make it seamless, but I was not satisfied with the beginning of my writing. After chatting with the editor several times, he also felt that my beginning was not good enough, and even if it was published, it would not be an excellent one. A novel that is healthy and can go a long way. So I'm going to take a break, readjust my mentality, think about it carefully, and then post it again, but I promise, this won't take more than a week. I'm afraid you'll forget me if I wait too long, and I'm afraid I won't have enough money to eat. I have already thought about what story to write for the next book. At the turn of the 1980s and 1990s, as a link between the past and the future, there will be the restlessness and confusion of the 1980s, the wildness of the 1990s, and the 2000s. The impetuous and intoxicating. I will write 3 million for my next book. I swear an oath here. I'm so sorry if I can't write anything. Live broadcast. Finally, on behalf of Chen Lian, I would like to thank everyone. I am very honored to have spent 8 months and 241 days with all of you. I am very happy to be able to bring a little joy to everyone during these 241 days, and everyone also made me very happy during these 241 days. Thank you for your company and your support. We will meet again in 1988. One last thing, adoptive fathers. The new book must come. Fringe artists in the entertainment industry. Author, Chizu de Xiaomao. Chapter 475. The End.